super dimensional strategy starting with Batman. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26, Magneto out of trouble. Everyone, including Magneto himself, was shocked by Magneto's power to destroy the world. They were even more curious about who the mysterious blue monster was, who could withstand such a terrifying attack from Magneto. But I don't want Odin to suddenly cry out. Everyone was shocked. This is Odin, the legendary king of gods, the main god of Norse mythology, and has lived for an unknown number of years. Is there anything I haven't seen? Actually screamed out because of the power of a little girl. Thor immediately asked, "Father, what is Phoenix Force?" Odin frowned, looked into the distance, and said, "That's a legend. Phoenix Force is born at the beginning of all things. Chaos is immortal, the eternal but impermanent son of the universe. It is the power of life and mind in the primordial universe." This sentence is too mysterious. Luther seemed to notice some blind spot and asked with a weird expression, "But you are not in the same universe." Odin glanced at him. "Who told you that the Phoenix Force exists in a single universe? It's a terrifying force that exists in a multi-universe." Professor X felt his brain rumbling. Magneto showed enough power to destroy human civilization, enough to shock him. But he didn't want that little girl to have a power that even Odin was shocked by, a power that he couldn't understand, and seemed to have a good relationship with him. Will you meet this little girl in the future? Is this a good thing for mutant? The stronger the power, the harder it is to control. If this little girl's power goes out of control, how terrifying it will be. Immediately there was an impulse in his heart. He wanted to find this little girl and teach her to control her own power. Free she accidentally destroys the world. At this time, Iron Man also asked, "Lord Odin means that the Phoenix Force may exist in all multi-universes and may exist in our universe?" Odin said, "I just know some superficial rumors. Seeing this little girl's performance, it's a bit like Phoenix Force, but I'm not sure. After all, I haven't seen it either." Iron Man asked again, "Who is stronger, Phoenix Force or Infinite Gems?" Hearing this, Odin couldn't help but stunned. "You want to fight the Phoenix Force? I have only heard of the power. You, a human, actually want to find this power. Should this be called boldness, confidence, or foolishness?" Iron Man didn't answer, just said, "I'll find out." Odin just shook his head. "I said it. I don't know." The narration of the video sounded again. Magneto is one of the most powerful mutants in the world. He devoted his life to leading mutant against human oppression, and he paid a heavy price for it. In the Auschwitz concentration camp, he lost his mother, his break with a good friend Professor X on the beach. Before the White House, he was Mystique betrayed. He is not without thought and humans live in peace. He had several years of anonymity, marry and have children, but even so, he is still being hunted. Humans, everyone, face another change. Magneto has also been tried, and humans live together in peace. Magneto himself is scoffed. "I will not compromise. I will never compromise toward humanity." The picture has become a forest. Magneto is surrounded by a group of human police. That the police actually did not carry a gun with a bow and arrow. Magneto flanked by a woman and a girl. His bearded Haggard looked great. Although he had never seen this woman and girl, Magneto felt a sense of intimacy when he saw them. "We know what you are, so we didn't have guns, and we didn't have metal," said the police officer across from the video. "Come with us." Once he was pointed at by a row of bows and arrows, and his face changed rapidly. At this time, his daughter screamed out of fear. In the screams, the birds in the woods suddenly went crazy and attacked the police. Magneto's eyes lit up. "Could this be my daughter? As expected of my daughter, she seems to have the ability to communicate with birds. It's just that he didn't understand why he didn't fight back. If these cops don't have guns, there's nothing they can do. Even if you don't take anything with you, when you go out by yourself, you should at least take a coin or two with you. Do you really want to live in peace with humans? So you don't want to resist? Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. At this moment, a policeman was startled. His hand loosened, and the long arrow shot straight at it, killing Magneto's wife and daughter on the spot. Magneto in the video is grief-stricken as he holds the bodies of his wife and daughter. Finally he tore off the necklace around his daughter's neck. The next moment, the necklace flew out of his hand, mowing the grass, killing all the police in an instant. Wolverine snorted coldly, "It's too much. If it's me, I'll kill these bastards too, Professor." X looked at Magneto with concern in his eyes. Others were speechless. This man is a little miserable. His mother was killed in front of him, trying to live a quiet life, and his wife and children were also killed by humans. If I were him, I would also fight to the end with mankind. Magneto himself was pale. He had never seen these two women at all. Why did their deaths make him so painful? His heart was aching like a knife. And he seemed to go back again, seeing the scene where his mother died in front of him back then. He seemed to recall the words of the blue-skinned weirdo in his ears. "Put your power deep into the heart of the earth. Deep into the heart of the earth. This is all your power." His power is just around the corner, trying to break through the blockade of this prison. The narration sounded again. Mutant wants dignity. It is necessary to be free from oppression and resistance. And if he wants peace, he must hold a knife in his hand. Magneto has the most powerful knife in his hand. It's not okay to keep playing small. So Magneto, show humanity that you have the power to destroy the entire human world. Only in this way will human beings be serious and willing to talk to mutant on an equal footing. So Bay is still talking nonsense. And Magneto already felt like he had touched the center of the earth. At that moment he understood. He was Magneto. He was not the king of irons. He is manipulating magnetic fields, not metals. This prison can isolate metals, but not magnetic fields. The next moment, the entire ground began to vibrate, as if a magnitude 7 earthquake had occurred, and Magneto's cell was also cracked. Countless bits of fine dust flew from the rift to Magneto's face, turning into huge amounts of metal drill bits. Now, no one can stop him from escaping here. Magneto broke his shackles in front of everyone. "I ask for 2 flowers, and I ask the reader to give me some confidence." Chapter 27 Magneto of a certain science. Eric, stop it. Professor X, who was on the screen, was anxious. Magneto said lightly, "I'm not wearing a helmet. Either you control me directly, or I'll go out and kill the quartet." Professor X said, "No, this will only trigger a total war between us and humanity." Magneto's response remained strong. "It's for humans to know we are not to be messed with." Even if his thoughts have changed, Professor X is one of those mild counter-attackers. He sighed. "Eric, I also think we have to fight back against humanity and the persecution of humanity against us, but it's definitely not a rash and direct war with humans, because mutant must be dependent on human beings and coexist with human beings. If they destroy human beings, they will also destroy us." "What did you say?" Magneto snapped. "I knew it, Charles. I thought you were a coward, but I didn't think you were a complete traitor." "What do you think of mutant?" "No wonder, Emma Swan, teen. You didn't care when they died? You could save them. You could." The human buildings above began to crumble again, as if the earthquake would come again, and the human beings were so frightened that they fled like ants. Professor X closed his eyes, tears streaming down the corners of his eyes. The names Magneto mentions are the mutants they knew before, who were used as experimental subjects by Trisk, who suffered and were finally sliced. If he had known earlier, if he hadn't been so decadent at the time, he could have saved them. Professor X finally opened his eyes. His eyes were very firm. "Really, Eric, we must be attached to human beings and coexist with human beings. You don't know, but I know very well, that the overall number of mutants is only 4,768, and less than 5,000. Such numbers are too few for a single ethnic group. What's more important is that mutant's X gene is mutated. If it's not our children, it must be a mutant. And if we exist alone as a race, our numbers will only decrease until we die. The most important thing is that the vast majority of new mutants are born from humans. And if we destroy humans, we destroy them. And the future of mutants, it is doomed. That we can only develop in symbiosis with human beings." Magneto froze for a moment, making his head go cold. He is not an ignorant scumbag. Although sociology is not his research direction, he also knows that if a race has less than 5,000 people, it is on the verge of extinction at any time point. The most important thing is that Professor X is not talking nonsense. In this way, mutant is drooling like this. Without humans, the continuation of mutant is really a big problem. The narration sounded again when humans realize that mutant, like humans, has the power to destroy the world. Humanity will be willing to talk to mutant on an equal footing, which is similar to the black deterrence of the Cold War, and a fragile balance can be struck between the two. Deterrence is necessary, but a blind all-out war is not advisable. Mutants have a symbiotic relationship with humans. If they truly go to war with humans, even if mutants win and destroy human beings, mutants will also be extinct. In terms of ability, it is mutant who dominates, but in terms of racial survival ability, it is human who dominates. By this time mutant will be able to form an independent state. Let mutant be integrated into the human world not as an individual, but as a nation. The power of an individual mutant does frighten humans, but as a special and powerful nation, it may not be the most powerful nation, and it is easier for humans to accept it. Magneto didn't expect even the power in the video to say that, and it seemed to make a lot of sense, so he decided to listen. It's not that Magneto hasn't thought of other ways over the years, not just being rigid. He supported that President Mutant to come to power, and he also wanted to change the relationship between mankind and mutant from the inside through President Mutant. The narration continues. This is a time to improve human perception of mutant. For example, let a certain kaleidoscopic shaper shift woman become the hottest actor in the world. For example, let a certain mutant who sings very well become the hottest singer in the world. Anyway, there are plenty of ways using mutant soft power to make human beings fall in love with mutant, and worship mutant. This is a very important cultural output. For the future of mutant, many mutants can choose to become idols. So they started babbling again. Loki said yin and yang angrily. It's really an inexplicable strategy. I mean, this guy who does the strategy doesn't understand anything. Mutant clearly possesses such a powerful force that he can completely conquer human beings. Odin couldn't help but raise Gungnir in his hand and knocked Loki on the head. Odin said, "Don't talk nonsense. Although mutants also have extraordinary powers, they are different from our Protoss. Their way of salivation is very special. It is destined that mutants need to coexist with humans." Iron Man said, "I just made a mutant development model based on mutants' awakening scale. From the data of the model, the strategy said in the video is correct. If you destroy human civilization and are completely hostile to human beings, mutants will not last for 3 generations, and they will all die out." The narration continues. This is mutant's general strategy, but there are some more personal suggestions for Magneto that he should read more. Magneto's ability is to manipulate the magnetic field. Is there a more in-depth study of what the principle is? Not just Magneto, but every mutant should dig deeper into his super ability. Let's not talk about other things. Why does Magneto use his ability to throw some steel out, to make weapons every time, or to control human weapons? If Magneto reads more books, it will be completely different. For example, use your ability to create electromagnetic pulse waves. If you can do it in the face of human high-tech information weapons, such as the people of the Sentry machine, even if it is not metal, you can still destroy their internal structure, like a super electromagnetic gun. A girl with brown hair appeared in the picture, dressed like a middle school student. A coin popped out of the girl's hand, and lightning flashed on the coin, and then the coin turned into a streamer, shattering a hill. Well, that's Misaka Makoto in a certain scientific railgun. Sube cuts animation, but what is presented here is a 3-dimensional image. Controlling magnetic field is an amazing ability that can be developed for more users and applied to more aspects. The way Magneto is used is like holding a gun in his hand, but only knows how to hit people with a gun, so you still need to read more. Good Morning. Asking for flowers. Asterisk if you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28 Mutant is founded. Magneto doesn't care about the teasing in the video. He didn't know some theories, because the technology in his era was not so developed, and many scientific and technological theories had not yet been developed. He knows some theories, but he can't do it. It is the easiest and most convenient to control metals with magnetic fields, he said. Charles, this time, I trust you. As soon as the words were finished, the huge amounts of drill began to drill. Above. The officers in the 5th GIAO building were so terrified that at first they thought it was an earthquake. But instead of detecting earth vibe, they found anomalies in the magnetic field. Suddenly, the soldiers guarding outside screamed. The ground roared, and huge amounts of metal drills drilled a hole in the ground, then floated in the air. And Magneto came out of the hole. Those virtual screens were still in front of him, which made the soldiers think that the drill was some kind of high-tech product. Who are you? Is he wearing a prison uniform? Prisoner. Aliens. Never mind. He shot. This is one of the most important places in the beautiful country. Magneto. Now this situation is equivalent to an invasion. They can naturally fire. They were about to attack Magneto with the weapons in their hands, but the next moment, they were horrified to find that their guns fell apart on their own. The soldiers couldn't understand what was going on, and were terrified. Then there was countless smoke and dust from the ground, which were trace metals in the soil, all extracted by Magneto. These trace polygenes then formed a metal base. This metal base grows upwards and turns into a ladder, and at the top of the ladder forms a steel throne, which is taller than the 5th GIAO building. Magneto walked up step by step and sat on the iron throne. I am Magneto, leader of the mutant, he said to the frightened soldiers. I'm going to talk to the president of a big beautiful country. During the projection, all the audience also saw Magneto's actions. Professor X exposed. Eric, what are you trying to do? Don't force me to control you, Magneto said indifferently. I'm just showing my power and proclaiming mutants' existence with integrity. Then there was a sudden explosion in the sky, and several planes scrambled into the air, authorized to attack Magneto directly. But those missiles hadn't arrived yet. One disintegrated in the air, and the other flew backwards and hit the plane, but the warhead had been dismantled by Magneto, which only frightened the flight crew, without hurting anyone. Magneto hasn't killed anyone until now. This scene directly stunned everyone in the headquarters, and no one dared to attack Magneto anymore. Because maybe in the next moment, there will be warheads on the missiles that fly back. Then Magneto said, I've shown my power to humanity. Charles, why don't you take the time to have a chat with His Excellency the President of the beautiful nation? Professor X was so angry that Magneto knew what to do. But he has done it. What can he do? Can only help him after the aftermath. He took the brainwave machine, then found the president of the beautiful country, and said, Your Excellency, don't panic. I have no intention of hurting you. I'm mutant. Yes, the kind of mutant you know. That person in front of the 5th GIAO building is my companion. He has no ill will. No. The former president was not murdered by homicide. That was a misunderstanding. We just wanted to talk to you about mutant. The president's guards only saw the president's face change suddenly, and it didn't take long before the president came back to his senses and gritted his teeth. I agree. I'm willing to carve a piece of land for you. The president is so generous, because Professor X said, Your Excellency, I know what you did. He shakes out all the dirty things the president has done in private. If these things are left out, he will be the end of the president. Rather than losing the presidency, accepting the existence of the mutant, giving the mutants a piece of land, and allowing them to build a country in the beautiful country, is just irrelevant. The beautiful country is too big, and there are many desolate places that no one wants to go to. Grant a piece to mutant. For the president. Don't be too simple. Finally, Professor X said on the screen, I convinced the president. Now we have a land of our own. There are still many questions in the follow-up, and I will talk to them slowly. At the same time, he found all the mutants through telepathy and sent them the message that the mutants would create a country of their own and the beautiful country point. At that moment, all the mutants were inexplicably shocked. Some people were horrified, some were happy, some were not concerned, and some were very excited. Magneto laughed and flew to the land promised to the mutant. All the audience watched the big show quietly. Iron Man is very pleased with the result. After all, it looks like Mutant is on the right track. There are bound to be many twists and turns, but Mutant finally has a clear purpose, and it won't be the same as the previous Magneto. Those politicians can't give up so easily. You have to be careful, Batman said. He also sincerely hopes that Mutant can find his own way of survival that can survive for a long time and in a stable manner instead of living with human beings. No, Magneto said. Professor X also said, I know, so we will be ready for any challenge. That's when the website finally started asking, when do you think humans will attack Mutant? After Mutant's founding. 1. A day later. 2. A month later. 3. After half a year. 4. A year later. Asterisk. Chapter 29 Iron Man's Second Guide. The country of Mutant is really not the author's nonsense. In the comics, Magneto did this. He surrounded an island and created a country of mutant. This question of the website surprised all viewers for a moment. Because this is the first time that the website has so bluntly reminded these viewers of what may happen in the future. And that means that whenever the mutants declare a state, they are bound to be counterattacked by humans. This is good news and definitely bad news. Magneto snorted coldly. I know it won't be so easy. Humans can't tolerate mutant, Professor X said slowly. This is inevitable. In human history, to really successfully establish our own country, war is essential, but at least we are prepared now. I will choose. One day later. Once Professor X made up his mind, turned the dark into the light, and resisted the oppression of human beings, he was naturally prepared accordingly. Everyone was stunned. After a day, did the beautiful country start a war so quickly? Professor X said, if I want to attack the mutant kingdom, I will also do it on this day. First, Mutant has just established a country, so his vigilance is definitely not that high. Second, Mutant was suppressed as soon as the country was founded, and the blow to Mutant's morale was absolutely unprecedented. Also, the humans are definitely ready to attack the mutant realm, and I guess they'll even recruit some mutants and use mutants against mutants. Everyone looked at Professor X with some surprises. Before, they only thought that Professor X's super ability that could control the minds of people all over the world was very scary. But now it seems that Professor X also understands the human heart very well. The website responded, if you answer correctly, you will be rewarded with a simplified version of the brainwave machine. A silver white helmet appeared in front of Professor X out of thin air. Originally, this device would not be invented until decades later, and it fell into the hands of Professor X. Professor X's psychic power is really strong, surpassing that of human beings, but he can never control the human beings all over the world at the same time. He is so strong that he relies on Beast to create a brainwave machine. But the brainwave machine is too big to carry around. This simplified brainwave machine will allow Professor X to use his power to the extreme at any time. Professor X put the helmet on his head, took a deep breath and said, come on, I won't compromise this time. Ding. Someone answered the right question and rewarded Grandma for the ability of teleportation. Sue Bay, who was in a daze, heard the sound of the website again in his head. But he was still sleeping and didn't care at all. After reading the guide on Magneto, Iron Man said, now look at my guide. He felt a little strange why people like Loki only have one guide, but his own guide actually has 2. Is it possible that there will be a 345 or something in the future? He definitely didn't know that Super did this because Iron Man is a very popular character, so he wanted to do as many guides as possible about Iron Man. For the traffic, not shabby, Batman's Raiders will be the second part, which is also the reason. The video still shows Iron Man's appearance and his name profile. The narration sounded, the last time I did a strategy on Iron Man. This time continues. This time the strategy is aimed at the super artificial intelligence Ultron. is definitely the most fearsome opponent Iron Man has ever faced, because of Ultron's ability to overcome Iron Man. This super artificial intelligence can control all electronic devices and control all networks of human beings. In the network, created by human beings, he is a god. This also means that all of human sophisticated weapons will be controlled by Ultron, who can easily destroy the civilization of the human world. Everyone took a deep breath and remembered the scene in Professor X's strategy that they had seen when Professor X controlled humans to let them launch nuclear bombs. Could it be that this Ultron is going to do it again? Odinson said, artificial intelligence is very scary, so we as God have very strict restrictions on artificial intelligence. It has happened more than once in the universe that artificial intelligence has devoured the main body of civilization. For example, the Kree. Their supreme intelligence was originally just a super artificial intelligence creature created by the Kree, but when it evolved and became an unimaginable life form, it became the real ruler of the Kree. Now, no one of the Kree dares to resist the supreme wisdom. It is a matter of course for the existence of the supreme wisdom. The supreme wisdom is regarded as their god, and the supreme wisdom controls everything of the Kree people. It's just really hard to believe that real artificial intelligence can be developed with the technology of the Earth. Everyone is horrified to hear that human beings are actually being turned into masters by their own creations. It is terrifying to think about it. Iron Man pursed his lips and said nothing point, because he is also doing research on artificial intelligence. He also knows how difficult it is to develop a real super artificial intelligence. Even his Jarvis is now 1,000 miles away from this level. The narration continued. What's more, even Iron Man's armor will become Ultron's weapon. A living room appears on the screen. Iron Man saw Thor, the Captain of the United States, Black Widow, the Hulk, and even his friend Rhodes. They are all in their own homes, but they are fighting, and their opponents are steel armors. Apparently he lost control of these Iron Legions. Iron Man's face turned pale. If Ultron controls my steel armor, then he can also control my armor. Iron Man has the smartest brain and firm will, but without the armor, his combat effectiveness is a bit stronger than the average soldier. How should I fight against an existence like Ultron? Is the plan of the Iron Legion not feasible? The narration continues, and Ultron has allies, two very powerful allies, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. When they heard the name Scarlet Witch, all viewers were shocked. Loki said, didn't I say in my power video earlier that Scarlet Witch is someone who can fight Thanos? Could it be an Earthling? Loki, can't believe there are such terrifying necromancers on Earth. Thor opened his mouth wide. No way. He has had enough blows. If there is another such fierce character on the Earth, he will not be able to accept it. Iron Man's face turned even paler. A super artificial intelligence is scary enough. It actually has helpers like Scarlet Witch. If there is no guide video for this, can it win this battle? Even him, his heart is in chaos. The next moment, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver appear in the picture, begging for flowers. Chapter 30 Cross Parallel Universe Alliance. Everyone has heard the statement that Scarlet Witch can rival Thanos and Loki's strategy before, so they are looking forward to this Scarlet Witch. But the one who didn't want to appear in the video was actually a girl in red, who looked like a college student at most. Could such a woman, maybe even a girl, rival a cosmic overlord like Thanos? Thinking of Thanos crushing Tesseract and crushing Loki to death, it's hard for everyone to imagine. And Scarlet Witch is standing behind Iron Man, dancing like a piano with both hands, bringing up a stream of red air. Iron Man's eyes were blank, and he saw a world. The sky in that world was dark, with Chitauri battleships flying in the cosmic starry sky, and the corpses of several acquaintances lying on the ground. Everyone had seen it. It was a few people who fought in Iron Man's living room before. Captain the United States, Black Widow, Hulk, Thor, War Machine, Rhodes. Thor couldn't collapse immediately. There is still my body. Did I die fighting this super artificial intelligence? Loki rolled his eyes at his brother. You also fought with Thanos when you were blind in one eye, but your eyes are intact, which means that this happened before the fight with Thanos. It's clearly a hallucination caused by that Scarlet Witch, and you can't tell. I thought Scarlet Witch was so powerful. I didn't think it was just a necromancer manipulating hallucinations. That would match Thanos, and Thanos isn't that great. Iron Man directly replied to Loki, "It's not so good. It's not like I'm squeezing you to death like a chicken. It's impossible for him to be pleasing to Loki anyway, not for the rest of his life. Point. If you find an opportunity, it will cost Loki a few words." Loki was furious and was about to speak when the screen switched to the Quicksilver scene. Quicksilver's body turned into a phantom, and wherever he ran, Iron Man, Hawkeye and the others all fell to the ground. No one saw how he got his hands on it. Superman was surprised. "It's so fast. It looks like me." Superman's speed is comparable to the Flash. But that's just the normal The Flash. The Flash that didn't play its full strength. In the guided version of the Justice League, when the Flash exerts its full strength, it can reverse the time and space and reverse the time, which saves the Justice League and his party. Otherwise, the Justice League would be at full speed at the time. Even Superman was no exception. Now Quicksilver's speed is also comparable to the normal The Flash. Iron Man and Nick Fury's head hurts again. Previously their focus was only on Scarlet Witch, but now the Quicksilver appears to be a bigger threat. At such a fast speed, if he wanted to kill, no one could stop him. The narration continued, because Tony Stark's weapon blew up their family. When the two were hiding under the bed, there was always a Stark group bomb flashing, which could explode at any time. It put them through indescribable fear, and these two things made them hate Tony Stark so much that they chose to work with Ultron. Loki burst out laughing. "So that's the case." The bitter master came to the door. He also disliked Iron Man. But this time Iron Man didn't retort. In his opinion, this is entirely his own responsibility. His own weapons have killed other people's parents, and his own weapons have brought them such great fear. They hate themselves for sure. Iron Man is such a person in his heart, otherwise he would not have easily agreed to the Sokovia Act, because of the mother of a Sokovia victim, causing the split of the Avengers. At this time, Luthor suddenly said, "These two people are not difficult to deal with, because they have different goals from Ultron." Ultron's goal was to destroy humanity, and the two men's goal was to kill Tony Stark. You can start from this point and try to instigate the two. Hearing this, everyone was stunned, and they all looked at Luthor. Nick Fury couldn't help asking, "How do you know that Ultron's goal is to destroy humanity?" Luthor didn't explain, and said, "I guess, unfounded goose walk. What's the use?" Some people dismissed Luthor's words, while others bowed their heads in thought. The narration sounded again, and what's even scarier about Ultron is that he wants to create his own body out of vibranium. Ultron appeared on the screen. It was just a tall, strange robot with a bottle in its hand that had a dark fluid in it that looked heavy. Ultron sneered, "Vibranium, the most amazing metal in the world, but human beings have only built a shield to get it." Iron Man couldn't help saying, "This AI is arrogant." Batman asked curiously, "What is vibranium?" He learned about the magic of kryptonite before, so now he has a very strong curiosity about these items with peculiar abilities. Maybe it will be effective for the super ability people that you encounter in the future. Iron Man said, "The United States Captain's shield was made of vibranium. My father made it." Shock has a characteristic. Once mined, once solidified, it cannot change its form, because it can absorb any form of energy. Batman was taken aback, including kinetic energy. Iron Man nodded. A shield that can absorb any energy means that it can resist any form of attack. The captain of the United States is only a super soldier, but he can hit 55 when he encounters those superhuman beings, relying on this shield. This time, even Superman couldn't help but say, "This kind of thing is simply unreasonable, and it does not conform to the conservation of energy." Everyone couldn't help but complain. Are you embarrassed to say something that does not conform to the conservation of energy? The one who is the least fit for this is you. Batman said to Iron Man, "If you can get your hands on Ultron's code, or I can try to help you." Batman is also DC is the smartest human being in the universe, on par with Luthor. He is also very strong in electronic information and programming technology. In the movie, he has already built something that can monitor the world. What is even more exaggerated is that in the story of God Among Humans, when he first met Cyborg, he implanted an electronic virus in Cyborg. And Cyborg didn't notice. Cyborg is a half human and half mechanical body transformed from a mother box. It can also be regarded as a super artificial intelligence. It can read any human electronic information and invade any human system point. It's enough to see how powerful Batman's programming skills are. Point at this time, Professor X suddenly said, "This proposal is good. I had an idea before, and we can actually help each other. Just as I would form the X-Men, Superman and Batman would form the Justice League, and Iron Man and Thor would form the Avengers. Those of us in parallel universes can also form an alliance and help each other. Even if we can't provide material help, we can help everyone make suggestions, analyze various information, and exchange technical experience. For example, I don't know much about computers, but Hank knows it. Also, this website is amazing. Maybe we can exchange some items through it in the future, and even travel to and from other people's worlds." Hank is Beast, one of the smartest mutants, Professor X's big killer. He made the brainwave machine. At that time, the Vietnam War had not yet occurred, and the level of technology can be imagined. This shows how powerful he is. Iron Man and Batman have historically felt good about this proposal. I don't feel very good today, and I don't have much enthusiasm for writing. The addition of 2,000 and 3,000 flowers will be put on tomorrow. I will take care of it. I'm embarrassed to ask for flowers and tickets. Asterisk chapter 31. To deal with Ultron, I have 3 strategies. Hearing Professor X's proposal, Luthor couldn't help sneering in his heart. He felt that Professor X was just whimsical. This weird website is deeply malicious, and the audience it pulls in is either not in the same world, but in the same world, but hostile to each other. Like Loki and Iron Man, Magneto and Professor X. Just like now, Magneto and Professor X have collaborated, but he can see at a glance that the two have different ideas and will break down again sooner or later. Between him and Superman, he will defeat Superman sooner or later, proving to the world that he is the beacon that leads mankind forward. He will never give in to Superman, so sooner or later he will fight Superman again. Superhero or supervillain, they are all paranoid, and their will cannot be easily shaken. Iron Man and Batman agree. Because they have already seen what the future of their world will encounter, and they can get more help if they can point. Although everyone is in a different parallel universe now, it can't provide much help. But the future is bright. The narrator continued. Ultron will create an indestructible body capable of controlling all human electronic devices, which gives him the power to easily destroy the human world, and all the computers in the world will be his brains, which will give him an unimaginably huge computing ability. With the support, he can create a more powerful armor than Iron Man's armor. There are even 2 very powerful super ability users as helpers. If he is not stupid, it is impossible for humans to defeat it. When Sube watched the Women's Federation second, he thought Ultron was really stupid. Obviously, it can directly control the weapons of human beings and destroy more than 90% of the counterattack power of human beings in an instant. But he just wanted to be stupid, and he just wanted to make a meteorite fall from the sky and destroy mankind. Isn't that stupid? This is a weakening of director Kai Guogo. In the comics, Ultron is the most powerful, and the Iron Man who played Iron Man did not dare to put on his armor at all, and even killed Asgard directly. It slaughtered billions of lives in the universe, and even destroyed Thanos' hometown, Titan. In order to defeat Ultron, Avengers deploys the trump card, asking Wolverine to go back in time 3 times before killing Ultron. In the comics story, Wolverine also once joined the Avengers when Sube made this strategy. Although he didn't match Ultron in the comics, he did it according to the Ultron in the movie who played his strength perfectly. Even this severely weakened Ultron, the Avengers wouldn't have killed him if Jarvis hadn't accidentally turned into Vision. This kind of Ultron is worth doing a special power to deal with, so the video can only last long. A mech army appeared again on the screen. Unlike Iron Man's Iron Legion, Iron Man's Iron Legion has a surface similar to Iron Man's mask. And the head of this mech army is exactly the same as the previous Ultron robot. They are Ultron's army. These Ultron droids fly through the city, slaughtering humans with all kinds of weapons, and the human army is defenseless before them. Human high precision weapons are directly abolished. Those are images from Avengers: Age of Ultron. The narrator continued, Ultron is very powerful, but it's hard to kill him. It's not hard or hard. Ultron is just a program. He needs to be attached to the human network, but the program of super artificial intelligence is far from the current technology of Superman. Without the birth of Vision, even if Iron Man and Hulk, two of the most intelligent humans on Earth, would join forces, there would be absolutely no way to defeat Ultron in the network. But this is also Ultron's weakness. In other words, as long as Ultron is discovered, all human network equipment will be destroyed, and Ultron will have no place to live. The combination of Iron Man and Hulk can absolutely create a super powerful electronic pulse that can cover the entire world and destroy all electronic devices of mankind. Hearing Sube's strategy, Iron Man's brows tightened. It does work. However, the price to be paid in this way is too great, and the development of human civilization in recent decades will be destroyed in one fell swoop. Also, why did a new character emerge? Who is Vision? It is possible to drive a super artificial intelligence like Ultron out of the network. Is there such a powerful programmer in this world? Odd insight. This kind of super artificial intelligence is very difficult to deal with, very dangerous. Otherwise the various intelligent civilizations in the universe will not have such strict control over artificial intelligence. If this super artificial intelligence really appears on Earth, even he is willing to come to Earth to help. After all, the Earth also belongs to one of the 9 realms. In ancient times, it belonged to Asgard's territory and was protected by Asgard. Strange. So why didn't I appear in this video? Oh yes, I shot Thor. The narration continued. Definitely this first strategy is too much loss. This is just a last resort. Naturally there are other ways to try. Among Hydra is Dr. Zala, who was originally a Hydra scientist. He was picked up by SHIELD and died of old age decades ago. Definitely that's just what SHIELD thinks. In fact, SHIELD was deceived. Zala is also a genius scientist who is not much worse than Iron Man. Before he died, he transformed his consciousness into information and transmitted it to the computer, forming a super artificial intelligence. Definitely, he's far inferior to Ultron because his consciousness is still in the early SHIELD servers and cannot be pulled out. But he is also an artificial intelligence after all. Starting from him, we may find a way to deal with artificial intelligence. This is called using barbarians to control barbarians. Hearing this, everyone was stunned again, and everyone's eyes turned to Nick Fury, who was dumbfounded. It's even later. Sorry, I made up the drama today, and it was a little late when I started writing. I didn't dare to ask for flowers. Chapter 32 Ultron's saliva. An old computer room appeared in the picture. That's the scene in Captain America II. Team Rice and Black Widow infiltrated the earliest base of SHIELD, where they found Dr. Zala, who had uploaded his consciousness to the server. Hydra's Insight program relies on Dr. Zala. The Insight plan is to infer whether someone will become an obstacle to Hydra through the collected big data, which is close to Laplace's demon. Almost predicting the future. Without the support of Dr. Zuari, Hydra would not be able to come up with such a plan in another 100 years. Those devices looked very old and had a sense of age. On an extremely ancient display screen, a man's head was displayed. With a round face and a chubby face. He wears tall glasses and looks a little straight, but he is actually Dr. Zala, the craziest scientist of Hydra back then. He was in charge of Hydra's research on Tesseract back then. At that time, under those conditions, he could create weapons that harness the power of Tesseract, and his ability was not much worse than Iron Man. If the 10 smartest people in the Marvel universe, including the Avengers and X-Men, were chosen, he would definitely be on the list. Nick Fury just felt as if someone had lifted his celestial cover and a bucket of ice water was poured directly from the celestial cover. Previously, he only thought that SHIELD had penetrated by Hydra, but now he knew how far Hydra's penetration of SHIELD had reached. No wonder Hydra's so many activities are so perfectly concealed. It turns out that there is this super inner ghost. You must know that drive Zala didn't know how much he did when setting up the network of SHIELD. Iron Man's face turned black with anger. What the hell is SHIELD doing? Say you destroyed Hydra. Didn't Hydra devour you? Sure enough, with this group of insects, it is impossible to protect the Earth. Even Superman, who has always been kind, couldn't help but say, this SHIELD looks like a snake shield to me. Batman sighed. These political intelligence organizations really couldn't cooperate with them. This ability is too bad. A dignified intelligence organization funded by governments around the world has been infiltrated into a civ by its opponent. Not even a civ. They have become a division under Hydra. Nick Fury's one eye has turned red, and he no longer has the calmness that he was in control of before. He gritted his teeth and looked at Iron Man and said, after watching the video, we will deal with Hydra together and completely remove Hydra. Iron Man shook his head. I don't trust you. I'll do it myself. Who knows if you're from Hydra? Sure. Enough. Everyone's eyes on Nick Fury have changed. This made Nick Fury furious, and he gritted his teeth. Even if it's just me, I can destroy Hydra. He definitely didn't do anything these days. He also did some investigations and definitely had suspects originally. He wanted to slow down and find a proper way, but now he found that he couldn't wait. If we go further, maybe the director of SHIELD will be replaced by someone from Hydra. The narration continued. There is one last way. This success rate is lower than the second one, but there is a lot of room for maneuvering. You must know that when Ultron was created, it was not to destroy the world, but to protect the world. But as he swims across the human web to see the past and present of humanity, and wreaking havoc, destruction of ecology, destruction of species, mankind has been at war, massacre, so he thinks humans are a cancer on the earth. In his view, it is a guardian of human cleanse the world. It gave to picture ghost. It is a golden yellow is like a galaxy general model, a variety of points of light flashing, but some mechanical stiff feeling. I saw this on Yayoi Sheng Iron Man, because it is much like JARVIS model R. Batman also said, imagine you could be so much in the world of science and technology developed. This model is very advanced artificial intelligence. It R. Luther also said, I would also like advanced than previous models designed. Layman watch. Experts C wrote, the two men is the expert. At a glance what it was, they were scared too. The model has the edge of the gold colored model of a blue artificial intelligence. The two are very similar, but the blue model and the big golden model 10 times or 1000 times complex. A variety of points of light flashing. It seems as if the human brain. Iron Man shocked and said, this is a more advanced artificial intelligence model. These points of light look like neurons interact with humans. Batman. Same color. Conceal his surprise. It's like a living, as if thinking. You actually have to do the point where it is amazing. Luther interrupted the conversation. The two men. That's really what Ultron blue yellow is. This a bad thing? Raiders previously revealed the information while small, but also mentioned the name of Vision. So what Luther guessed this golden artificial intelligence model, that magic thing. But no matter how, look at the model of the Vision of Ultron and a lot of low level model. Why fight it with Ultron? If you can find the reason, I can create such artificial intelligence. However, this information alone is already good enough. Although only seen the model does not see the code, but also gave him a lot of tips and inspiration. Iron Man and Batman is true that the two models give them great impact, but also gives them unlimited inspiration. The blue model suddenly said, what is this? What is that? Golden model said, hello, I'm JARVIS. That moment everyone explode. Batman surprised. Artificial intelligence actually in conversation. He actually thinking about how this really is Ultron. Artificial intelligence model. That gold is the magic thing. Ordinary human artificial intelligence, and the biggest difference is that artificial intelligence will not ask why, just according to a fixed program of action. AI will ask why on behalf of him, have his own consciousness. This is a super artificial intelligence, has its own consciousness. He is the Ultron. The Iron Man seems to be thunderstruck. Direct the people are num. J. A. R. V. I. S. That really is the golden model. JARVIS. So JARVIS is the Vision. Vision is also a super artificial intelligence, but it is impossible. JARVIS very far away from the super artificial intelligence point. What happened in the end? In the end, there are 4 more. Strive to complete our meow. Asterisk chapter 33 Raising Ultron, Odin's Wrath. In the video, JARVIS responded, "You are Ultron, a program that maintains world peace. Mr. Stark created you. Your perception set has not been activated before, and I don't know what triggered you." What? This time, it was Iron Man's turn to blow up. He really felt like he was torn apart. "I created Ultron. I created a super artificial intelligence that will destroy the world." Loki was stunned for a moment, then laughed. "Interesting. It's really interesting. This super artificial intelligence you are going to fight, this artificial intelligence that is going to destroy human beings, was actually created by you, and that Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, who joined Ultron because you killed their parents. You did it all. Tony Stark, you have been talking about me all the time, but even if I lead people to invade the Earth, I never thought of destroying all mankind. What right do you have to say that about me?" Iron Man's mind was still rumbling. He didn't understand. How could he create such an awesome super artificial intelligence? And since you have created this kind of super artificial intelligence, don't you have any precautions? So, this thing that is going to destroy the world is really what I came up with. His head went black, and he could barely stand. Batman couldn't help but sigh again. He found he sighed more than ever these days. Iron Man Tony Stark created a super artificial intelligence to protect the world, but after this artificial intelligence has its own consciousness, it wants to destroy mankind. How ironic. This made him even more sure how important it was for him to set a bottom line for himself. Superman also had an unbelievable look on his face. Before, he was thinking about giving Kryptonian technology to someone, but it doesn't seem to work now. Uncontrollable consequences are likely to occur. In the video, Ultron says, "Where is your body? JARVIS. I'm the program. Invisible. Ultron. It feels weird. It doesn't feel right. JARVIS. I'm contacting Mr. Stark." Ultron. Stark. Tony Stark. After that, countless information about Tony Stark was quickly pulled over, and everyone knew that it was Ultron reading information about Iron Man on the internet. J.R.V.S. I suddenly can't contact the host. What have you done? Ultron. We had a great time chatting. I'm a world peace program to assist Avengers in maintaining world peace. JARVIS. You're malfunctioning. If you could shut it down. Ultron. Ignored JARVIS at all. I don't understand my mission. Give me a moment. Then Ultron saw Iron Man saying our world was peaceful, and saw countless human politicians saying our world was peaceful, but the world is still waging wars everywhere, and he has seen countless wars. Humans are slaughtering humans like crazy. Finally, a picture of a nuclear bomb explosion was frozen on the screen. Loki sneered again. "See, it's humans who drive Ultron crazy." Tony Stark, you created Ultron to keep the world at peace, but Ultron found out that you've been killing each other, so he's crazy. You're driving him crazy. Faced with Loki's taunt, Iron Man was still speechless this time. He remembered that when he built arms before, he thought he was maintaining peace, but later found out that he was actually destroying the world. The birth of Ultron is the same. So, my thinking has not actually changed, has it? Still so stupid, but Iron Man thought, suddenly figured it out, and he said with a relaxed face, "Now that I know that Ultron was created by me, do you think I will make it again?" Being a human being is a moment of stunned. Thinking about it is also the truth. You know you're going to fail, and you're definitely not going to do it again. So this time the Ultron crisis won't happen at all. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. But Sube's strategy continued. Now that you know why Ultron is out of control, there is a way. Either carefully modify his tasks, or give him psychological counseling. In my opinion, these are of little use. Look at the fact that Ultron was just born, and you just show him these tragic pictures. How can the three views not be distorted? Your child was born, you show him this. For a newly born child, you should show him some Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales, Grimm's fairy tales, the Riemann, Gerd brothers, Ultraman, Grey Wolf, etc. to make him believe that the world is beautiful and that evil can prevail. Believe in the light, cultivate the 3 views of Ultron like a human child. A Ultron with a positive view will naturally not become a murderer who destroys the world, but a good helper for Avengers. So, Bay starts crap again. Originally, Iron Man had already made up his mind to never engage in any super artificial intelligence point, but Bay's narration was like a whisper of a demon point. Human beings still have to face so many powerful enemies, and there are even such terrifying existences as cosmic overlords. How huge amounts of boost is a super artificial intelligence? If I do it right, Ultron, there's no way he could get out of hand. If Jarvis is vision, it means that this is feasible, and the 3 views of super artificial intelligence can also be cultivated. Nick Fury's face changed greatly. Tony, stop, you absolutely can't do this super artificial intelligence. Absolutely not. Iron Man took a deep breath and said nothing. He was still weighing in his mind. Just then, the video ends. A brand new question popped up on the website. At whose hands did Ultron die? 1. Iron Man. 2. Thor. 3. Captain America. 4. Scarlet Witch. Thor was overjoyed. It must be me. Ultron has an indestructible vibranium body. How could a mere mortal kill him? It must be me. Only my infinite divine power can kill him. Loki covered his forehead. My stupid dude. You are most likely wrong. The website says, wrong answer. Punishment. Seal Thor's power and banish Thor to Earth. Thor's face changed. The armor on his body peeled off in an instant, and the Mjolnir in his hand couldn't be grasped. The next moment Thor disappeared. At this moment, Odin was shocked and angry. His hair was full, and a burst of thunder light enveloped his body, which actually shattered the entire palace. An electric light shot up into the sky, and a huge amount of gods appeared in the thunder light, causing the entire Asgard people to tremble and bend down. Too horrible. Who is it that makes Odin so angry? Even across the screen, these viewers felt huge amounts of pressure and instinctively couldn't help but kneel to Odin, but they held back. Even Superman felt some pressure. God is like a prison. Terrible. Previously, Odin gave everyone the feeling that he was just an easygoing old man and a wise king. At this moment, everyone finally felt how terrifying the strength of Odin as the God King in Nordic legends. But Odin tried his best and couldn't find a trace. He didn't know who had sealed Thor's divine power so easily in front of him and exiled him. Finally, his expression recovered. The thunder light all over the sky dissipated. He returned to his original state, and his expression was a little sad. The black hand behind the website is really terrifying. He passed Thor away under his own eyes, and he could not detect any traces of the cobweb horse by sealing his divine power. Too frightening. Still, he breathed a sigh of relief as he felt Thor's power was just being sealed. The information about Thor in the previous videos only revealed a few words, but Odin found that Thor was immature and the current Thor was not yet able to take charge of Asgard. That's fine. Just let him grind on the earth. Only then did everyone realize that the problem had not disappeared. Answer. One more time. The website says, 4 flowers, asterisk chapter 34. 34th chapter. Humans do not fly. Actually answer the second time. This site is really acting with the laws of nature. Although there are awards correct answers, but the answer is to punish, but also to a lot of people scared. Especially Odin. He now felt the sight behind unfathomable. If they answer wrong, and he was divine seal, then big unfavorable. Asgard is still not at peace. There is still the enemy from all sides. If you have lost a god, then Asgard will face an unprecedented crisis. He cannot take risks. You cannot answer this question. But at this point, the crowd saw another screencast. Was sealed. Thor appeared on Earth, but he's still in front of the virtual screen. Thor H said, how could not? I can beat anyone besides me. Has a super body of artificial intelligence vibranium. What? Are you cheating? I'm satisfied. This time even Odin are anxious. He was afraid to go under. Thor excited to answer questions. Next genius to know what the punishment. At this point Iron Man said, I chose 4. Scarlet Witch. This is his intuition. After all, the Raiders' information about the Scarlet Witch too little point. But before the Raiders' Scarlet Witch, that can match Thanos, Overlord of the universe, she is also likely to kill alternate point if so. Luthor can say instigation Scarlet Witch is true. This man, so smart, answered correctly. Reward Tony Stark nanotechnology, followed by numerous knowledge he will be infused with Iron Man's brain. Point nanotechnology is a thing of magic, is no different point used in the armor. Iron Man armor will play a power unimaginable point used in medicine. It can cure almost any disease of mankind point, but also in any other field of nanotechnology, can play a power unimaginable point. Get nanotechnology may be a technological revolution. Let the flyby of the development of human science and technology. This powerful technology to answer questions. Give me a play. Iron Man shocked this website a gross exaggeration. Byte. It was the answer to a question. The main macro magic up reward principle. Still sleeping Subay. I did not hear the sound. Since Iron Man finally recovered vast knowledge. Point information on nanotechnology has been deeply burned into his mind. He has mastered the most point. As long as a good look at most a couple of months he will be able to complete a thorough grasp of these gate technology. Point then Nick Farley said, you've got such a powerful technology, then that artificial intelligence would not have to engage in. He was really afraid. Point S. Point H. Point I. Point E. Point L. Point D. Hydra became engaged, has been like this. And if Tony Stark and then come up with a super artificial intelligence that mankind has been, how? Iron Man is still silent. He now believes he will be able to come up with a safe artificial intelligence. Point. If the face of the enemy is too strong, he needs such a powerful supercomputer artificial intelligence, he will engage. Point as well as strong. No one can shake him. Point then Luthor said, I can almost see the Raiders, right? The only Raiders I haven't seen yet are him and Batman. Point Batman has already read his previous Raiders, so naturally he won't fight for it. Point he said to Luthor, no matter what your strategy says, I will not let you make anything destructive. Luthor and Joker are different. Point Joker has already committed a lot of cases and Batman has a reason to arrest him. Point but Luthor didn't do anything right now, so Batman couldn't just grab the upstairs and lock him up right now. Point unless he finds evidence that Luthor is doing these things. The corner of Luthor's mouth twitched. He didn't care about Batman's provocation at all and clicked on his own video. Point the video featured a photo of Luthor, just not as full of hair as it is now, but with a big bald head. Point Luthor was taken aback for a moment. Am I like that, Professor X? Will I be bald in the future? Is baldness the fate of the wise? Even someone like him is very concerned about his hair. Be aware that the character Luthor has many origin stories in DC Comics, and the oldest origin story, his hair was lost by Superman, and he had a feud with Superman for it. Point Luthor's information is displayed on the screen. Name: Lex Luthor. Nickname: labeled introduction, chairman of the Lester Group. If Joker is Batman's enemy, then Luthor is Superman's enemy. Just seeing this, Superman frowned. Point he has locked Luthor's position now. He heard Luthor's heartbeat. He knows that this is just an ordinary person without any super ability. Such a person will be his lifelong enemy. I haven't done anything to him. Why is that? The highest intelligence in the entire universe is level 12, which represents omniscience and omnipotence, and Luthor's intelligence is level 9. He and Batman are called the smartest in the DC universe. Luthor said a famous saying, some people read War and Peace, but it is an adventure story, and some people see the ingredient list of chewing gum, but penetrate the mystery of the universe. He is the one who penetrated the mysteries of the universe. Hearing this, everyone looked at Luthor. Loki said, the mere mortals are so arrogant. Luthor smiled lightly. I'm just telling the truth. A spaceship has appeared in the footage of the video. Point others don't know it, but Superman knows at a glance that this is a Krypton spacecraft. Although it is not the one left by his father, it must be a Krypton spacecraft. Superman stands on top of the spaceship. Point then the picture changes again. Superman rescues a human baby in the fire. Point a large crowd of humans bow down to him, extending their hands to him. Luthor is a man who puts the best interests of mankind first, and he pursues and ensures the interests of mankind to the extreme. So, when Superman appeared in this world with transcendent power to protect and help mankind, all he had in his heart was hostility and hatred. Fundamentally, He wouldn't believe that a Kryptonian would willingly give everything for humanity. More importantly, he believes that Superman's power is too powerful for humans to supervise. Once Superman does evil, it will be a disaster for the Earth. Batman couldn't help being taken aback. When he saw Superman for the first time, he had the same thought in his heart. He did not expect that the person who came up with Doomsday's intention to destroy the world would have the same idea. Batman is even more convinced of how important it is for him to draw a line for his actions, otherwise he might do something crazier than Luthor. Superman didn't expect Luthor to think so. He said to Luthor, "I grew up on a farm in the beautiful country. You can think of me as a person from the beautiful country." Looking into Superman's eyes, he saw only sincerity, but he said, "Humans can't fly." Asterisk. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35. Luthor. Do not need to create a superhero nationalities. Luthor, picture of a person sitting on the seat, said. Superman, the Man of Steel in humans, it is the man himself after the long years, can evolve to become the ultimate form of Superman as extremely physical ability and thinking seems to end human. Superman declared to the world with their own existence, no matter how you progress, but also the most like me nothing. After recognizing Superman, human beings no longer obsessed, explore their own potential, because Superman has the potential to highlight that gave them, so humans become dependent. Superman, no longer focusing on themselves, when the truth becomes a myth, will be the existence of a potential danger. We would desire for excellence. That part of the self, myth, must be his true colors exposed to the public, so that we can believe in yourself, because become myth, it is the only power exists within us. This passage was cut from the comics. Subay put down the videos, but when the audience sees cut down those cartoons has become a real image. The final screen. Luthor said, so Superman limits of human potential. Some of the people were silent. Because Luthor's words sound like it makes sense. When you see the Superman that extraordinary strength, they really imagine how humans would go beyond Superman do. Narrator continued. In other words, Luthor is the belief that human beings have the power beyond Superman. So he always wanted to defeat Superman. He wanted to use his victory to tell the world, human beings can transcend the Superman. Here, the narrator's words, the case of ordinary people. Then fear, there are people who feel the aura of Luthor simply on his head. Bright scary point for the future of humanity. In order to motivate people, desperate confrontation with super strong this Superman point. But Iron Man was skimming her lips. You say so openly, but kidnapped Superman's mother and girlfriend. Bale is a kidnapper, so you beat him. Makes sense. Iron Man is an intense hatred for those who engage in kidnapping, because he is a victim. Luthor said, commercial law means least. The result was important. Batman. Cold channel. No, it means also very important. If you cross the line, you will go to prison. I say. Superman looked at Luthor, said, you want to beat me, you want to challenge me, it does not matter, but you should not use them to threaten me, said. This time he had red eyes, and it seems to use the heat directly to the line of sight. Luthor ashes. Luthor did not the slightest juye. He said, look, this is what I most want to see the situation. You're Superman. You cannot have any restrictions on the planet. Your strength, your only limit, only your moral and your sense of justice. But your morality and your sense of justice is not impartial. You are subject to the influence of subjective will. When you suffer these effects, you made a biased judgment. For humans, it is a disaster. Still, it seems very reasonable. At this time, Professor X also said, what you are doing is not a disaster. You create a day of destruction, so that I do not know how many people died in the war. You are afraid Superman disaster, but you have created a disaster. Several. Big Brother could not understand Luthor's remarks. Luthor still wanted to talk, and he was never afraid of debating. However, the narration rang again. The most important point. Luthor is a very egoistic person. He believes that only he can lead humanity to a better future, so he has to beat Superman. The footage shows Luthor having Louise and Superman's mother, Martha Kent, kidnapped. Then the picture shifts to the interior of the Krypton spacecraft. There was a green pool in there, where Luthor created Doom out of General Zod's body. Next is the picture of the destruction of the Doomsday, and countless people died tragically. The narration continues. Look at a man, not what he says, but what he does. No matter how high sounding what he says, as long as he uses such rude means to cause harm to others, it is not a good thing. So, Luthor is essentially an extremely egoistic, extremely intelligent paranoid. Luthor didn't care about Subei's mockery. He never cared what others thought. If you use an old Chinese saying, wisdom is enough to refuse advice, and writing is enough to decorate right and wrong, his wisdom can find reasons for ejection from anyone's admonitions to him. And for any of his failures, he can cover up with very crowning words. Definitely this is just Subei's personal opinion. It does not mean that it is correct. Subei himself has 3 distinct views. The screen turned again, showing Luthor and Superman fighting. Luthor was wearing a green armor and facing Superman hard, punch to the flesh, and even kept firing light waves. Seeing this scene, Luthor's eyes lit up, and sure enough, I can make some high-tech armors like that Tony Stark to make up for my combat power and fight against Superman. Knowledge is power. This is also Subei's cut from the animation, but it has been transformed into a live-action version. The narration sounded again. Lex Luthor is also a scientist, an inventor, and he can be creative against the participation of Superman, but he seems to have forgotten his original purpose in the process. He just wants to prove to the world that he is stronger than Superman, that the world can only be saved by him and led by him. So he is also a careerist, but to achieve his goal, he will use everything or light or despicable means, and defeating Superman is not the only way. Go and run for president of the beautiful country. Luthor, reduce the country's crime rate, increase the country's employment rate, give hope to the people, and give them a stable living environment. Let there be no more horrible criminals like Joker, and no more superheroes like Batman and Superman. So, naturally there is no Superman, and Luthor can lead all the people of the beautiful country. That's the only way I think you can beat Superman completely, and do what you want. There are too few mentions about Luthor's movie. I have supplemented the comics, but many readers may not have read them. Regarding Luthor, I wrote it briefly. This idea actually came from Sukiya, the champion of Wu. The emperor wanted Sukiya to dissolve the beggar gang. Sukiya said that if the emperor managed the world well, then the world would naturally not need beggars, and there would be no beggars, and no beggar gangs. Finally ask for 2 flowers, and 1 more. Asterisk chapter 36 Batman of level 10 wisdom. Create a country where people live and work in peace and contentment, and where there are no supervillains and no need for superheroes. Hearing this, Batman was shocked. Isn't that what he has been expecting? If you can do this, you can definitely retire yourself. But is it possible? Is it really possible to achieve the perfect world and human ideals? Loki even sneered. Even us as God can't do it, let alone a despicable race like humans. There's no such world in the entire universe, which is too idealistic. Odin said. The narration continued. It's definitely hard. It's countless times harder than beating Superman. But, Luthor, you believe in humans. You believe humans can surpass Superman. If that's the case, why don't you want to believe that humans can create such a world? Well, Subei's bullshitting again. He himself does not believe that the beautiful country can do such a thing. It is impossible in any case. The screen switches again. Still inside the Krypton spacecraft, and Luthor with hair saw the Kryptonian smart device. The smart device that flew around in the air like a smart device composed of sand and dust. Those smart devices evolved a scene with those sand and dust. A strange creature in armor stood on the ground, and in front of him there were 3 square boxes, and behind him are a bunch of strange humans with wings. This is the end of the guide, and a new question pops up. In the last picture Luthor saw, why did those creatures come to Earth? 1. They're coming to Earth to find those 3 boxes. 2. Because Superman is dead. 3. They're coming to find something more important. 4. They are in order to invade the Earth, Batman said. Superman's death has been mentioned in the Superman Raiders, which will make those alien creatures coveted on Earth just around the corner. It now seems to be the monster shown in these pictures, and Luthor saw 3 boxes in the picture, so it's a multiple choice question. Because Superman is dead and those monsters come to Earth to find 3 boxes again. If it's a multiple choice question, are the other 2 answers correct? Luthor said point after all, they were so far apart that everyone couldn't fight, and they could still discuss these issues calmly. Point the answer to this question is not whether they are smart or not, because the relevant information is too much. With their wisdom, the answer cannot be determined. Point finally Batman said, I choose 1234, all of them. He thought that since those monsters came to the Earth, it was a matter of course to invade the Earth. By the way, point as for whether there are more important things on Earth, he does not know. Point, so he was only half sure of the answer to this question, but he still had to try it. Point, whether the answer is correct or not, he can determine what these alien creatures are trying to do when they invade Earth. Point, as long as he can know the purpose of these alien creatures, then he has the confidence to think of corresponding countermeasures. The website replied, correct answer, reward, raise Batman's wisdom 1 level to level 10. The voice fell. Point Batman instantly felt that his perception ability, analysis ability, thinking ability, all seemed to have made great progress. Many devices that could not be completed before now suddenly think of how to do it. Point the difficulties that plagued him before were also broken through by him in an instant. Point, and he seemed to sense one of the most fundamental things in all things. He seemed to see through the nature of the universe. Point this is the power of level 10 wisdom. Ding. Someone answered the right question, and reward grandma with a green light ring. So Bay, who is still very sleepy, definitely doesn't know. After all, it doesn't take much time to play a few videos. Intoxicated by that unimaginable wisdom, Batman finally opened his eyes. He said, then there is only my strategy now. He stretched out his hand and clicked on his video. Point his portrait and profile popped up again on the video. Point fortunately, this time there was no picture of his parents dying in the alley. Point the first person in the picture is not Batman, but Superman. Point the picture of Superman dying in the picture seems to have been frozen. Point the screams of Superman's death spread throughout the world, causing some wonderful changes to take place in the whole world. Point then everyone saw a few strange boxes. They beat, glowed, and gave off a strange rhythm. Point one of the boxes is guarded by a group of female warriors. They held swords in their hands and wore armor like medieval warriors. There is also a box under the sea. Point a woman with a better figure and a strange armor was moving under the sea, and she seemed to feel the change of the box. Point the narration sounded after Superman died. The news of his death spread throughout the universe. The scattered mother boxes on Earth were thus activated, sending some kind of signal into the universe, attracting Steppenwolf. This time, both Luthor's and Batman's faces became even more ugly. Point Batman said coldly, Luthor, look at you, how much disaster your actions have caused. How dare you say that everything is for the benefit of mankind. Luthor had nothing to say, no matter how smart and wise he was, but in the absence of sufficient information, he would not have thought that such a thing would happen. Point he will never sit back and watch aliens invade Earth. After defeating Doomsday and sending Luthor to prison, Batman finds information that Luthor collected. Batman believes the crisis in the universe doesn't stop with Kryptonians and Doomsday, so he decided to recruit some companions to fight the crisis on Earth together. The first is a Wonder Woman Diana, who was with them against Doomsday, daughter of Zeus, demigod body, princess of the Amazons. Zeus, hearing this name, everyone felt numb again. Point meow, I saw Odin earlier, now Zeus has appeared again. Point are we back in the age of mythology? Only Professor X and Magneto are more relaxed. Fortunately, there are no ancient gods in our world. If they did, it would be really difficult. The addition is completed, and I'm confident to ask for 2 flowers. Asterisk chapter 37 Wonder Woman arrives. Everyone's eyes turned to Odin again. After seeing Odin, they were really curious about what Zeus looked like. Odin is helpless. Have you forgotten one thing? We and Bruce are not in the same universe. The Zeus of that world, I don't know, but I'm curious, if there is Zeus in the parallel world, will there be an Odin? And Luthor said to Batman, last time you saw your strategy, didn't you want to go and find the Wonder Woman who will fight Doomsday with you? Batman said, the hasty investigation of others can lead to unnecessary conflict. Then a voice came from behind Batman, then why are you still investigating me? I saw a woman walking out of nowhere behind Batman. The woman is tall, beautiful, and sassy, not the Wonder Woman Diana who appeared before. Luthor was furious. Batman said that he would not rashly investigate others. As a result, not only did he investigate Wonder Woman, but he was also approached by others. As expected, he couldn't believe a word of what this guy said. Superman thinks it's a little funny. This bat is really dishonest. It's embarrassing now. Batman actually discovered Wonder Woman's infiltration before, but in his opinion, this is someone who can be a companion, and he did not prevent Wonder Woman from entering his Batcave. This magical website, he thinks it's better not to reveal it to more people, but Wonder Woman Diana, she knows better, so she doesn't have to work hard to convince her to join herself against the alien invasion. Wonder Woman's eyes swept across these virtual screens and then fell on Luthor. She unexpectedly said to Batman, so you have a connection with Luthor? No wonder Luthor is investigating me, and you are also investigating me. Why are you looking for me? In fact, what Wonder Woman first discovered was Luthor's investigation, and then when she was tracking back, she discovered that someone else was investigating herself. Luthor had been exposed, so she did not rush to find Luthor, but went to find another mysterious person whose identity she did not yet know. It's just that she didn't expect that the other person investigating herself was actually Bruce Wayne, let alone that Bruce Wayne was Batman. When she saw the equipment that Batman put aside, she confirmed that Bruce Wayne, the legendary rich second generation who spent his time and money, was Gotham vigilante Batman. You said, you are a playboy, rich second generation. What is wrong with you? The world is so magical. I have no ill will, Batman said. After he finished speaking, he explained everything about this website to Wonder Woman, and also introduced her to all the audience. After listening to it, Wonder Woman only felt that her three views were shattered. There is a certain mysterious person who edited the past and future of different multi-universes into videos, and then gave individuals a guide through the videos. Among them are the god King Odin, Thor and the evil god Loki, the gods of Alaska from another universe. Even the past and future of the gods can be edited at will. What kind of power is this? I'm afraid Sis can't do it. She has always been afraid of the sky and the earth, and her hands are shaking, so she also quietly joined the ranks of the audience. As soon as she saw the video, she understood. Wonder Woman said solemnly, what they are looking for is the mother box. Mother box, another name I've never heard of. Wonder Woman continued, I don't know much about the mother box. I only know that it is the equipment left by a powerful alien race with very powerful power. When a group of alien gods invaded, Zeus led the gods of Olympus and the Amazons, Atlantis, and humans to defeat these aliens and take away the mother box. And the three mother boxes are held by humans, Amazons, and Atlanteans. Iron Man breathed a sigh of relief and said, so the female warriors in the previous video are the legendary Amazons. Then you have left the mother box here for so long. You should have studied it thoroughly. If you understand the technology of aliens, then the aliens will be much easier to deal with. Wonder Woman looked a little embarrassed. We can't control the mother box, and we can't destroy the mother box. So we just keep it strictly guarded and prevent those aliens from taking it away. Iron Man said in disbelief, you got alien equipment, don't want to study it, reverse dissect their technology, use it against them, just keep these boxes guarded. In his view, this is incomprehensible. Wonder Woman heard what Iron Man meant, and her face was a little embarrassed. The Amazons are known for their strength, and doing research or anything like that is not their forte. Amazons are born with magical powers, so why do they need to study these technologies? But no one would have imagined that human science and technology would develop to this level within a mere 100 years. You must know that in the past few thousand years, the development of human beings has almost been standing still. They are on Paradise Island, and they have no idea what changes have taken place in the human world in the past 100 years, so that the first time they encountered those Germans, the Germans' weapons also caused them casualties, Batman said. So those powerful aliens didn't think about invading the Earth to get their equipment back. Because there are gods guarding the Earth. Later, because you were afraid of Superman's power, you didn't dare to come. But after Superman died, they came. Does that mean the gods are no longer concerned with the world? Superman coughed lightly. I'm not dead yet. This time, I won't die either. Diana's expression was also at a loss, because after all, since she was born, she hadn't received an oracle, and she hadn't really seen the gods of Olympus, and she didn't know what Olympus looked like. Now it seems that this woman doesn't know much, and the gods are no longer reliable to fight against the invasion of those powerful aliens again. The crowd's attention returned to the video, begging for flowers, begging for votes. There are too many comments. I'm so afraid. Is there a reader watching? Chapter 38 The Ancient Battlefield. After Wonder Woman, another burly man appeared on the video. He has long flowing hair and a thick beard, and he is parading in the sea naked, faster than flight. Suddenly he jumped out of the sea, and the screen had switched to a dimly lit world. He was wearing a golden armor, and stabbed a demon with a trident in his hand. Narrator introduced. The second is the future king of Atlantis, Aquaman Arthur. Then, the screen switched to a man with only half of his body. His whole body was covered with electrodes-like things, and at the other end of the electrode was a strange box that shone with brilliance and kept changing. Then the box exploded with strong light, and the man actually grew a half mechanical body out of nothing. The screen switched again. This half-human half-mechanical man was already wearing human clothes, and various virtual displays were flashing in front of him. The narration introduced. The third place is Cyborg Victor, who has integrated the power of the mother box, half-human half-biochemical machine. He can get into any human system and read any information on the web. Any part of his body can be turned into the deadliest weapon. In Cyborg on the screen, his hands instantly formed a cannon and blasted out an energy wave. Thor, who had been exiled to Earth, said depressedly, "It's getting more and more outrageous. He looks like Tony Stark and his armor are sewn together, and then there is an Ultron in his head." The corners of Iron Man's mouth twitched. "What's more, if you can talk more." When Batman saw this scene, he had already thought about how to implant a virus for him when he found Cyborg for help. If Cyborg was out of control one day, he would use the virus to deal with Cyborg. There was a trace of greed in Luthor's eyes. He wanted to find this Cyborg, and then took him apart and slowly studied. But his eyes turned to the mother box again. The power of Cyborg comes from the mother box. Instead of studying Cyborg, it is better to study the mother box. Wonder Woman says that one of the 3 mother boxes is guarded by the Amazons, one by the Atlanteans, and one by the humans. In this way, the mother box guarded by humans should be related to this Cyborg. If you find him, you can find the mother box guarded by humans. In this way, I can turn my knowledge into power in the shortest possible time. The screen switches again, showing a man in a red tights. He was so fast that he couldn't see his figure at all, only the electric light around him, which made him look like a bolt of lightning. The narrator continued. The fourth is the Flash Barry. He controls the Speed Force and has unimaginable speed. When his speed is extremely fast, he will break the time barrier and travel through time. How is this possible? Iron Man was immediately dumbfounded. How could the speed of human beings exceed the speed of light, go beyond the speed of light and reverse time? This breaks many existing theories, Professor X said. Reversing time is feasible. I have experienced it firsthand. But Batman was overjoyed. He had already investigated the Flash's information, but he didn't know the Flash's super ability before. In this way, the Flash's super ability is simply invincible. No one can resist someone so fast, with such a fast speed. Even if he only throws a stone, he can smash any strong enemy to death. It seems that fighting against those aliens is not as difficult as I thought. The narration continued. The 5 of them are very strong, but their opponent is the elite general under Darkseid, Steppenwolf. The most terrifying planet in the Darkseid universe, the ruler of Apocalypse, and the most terrifying and powerful new god in the multi-universe. In the DC universe, those gods who have had legends in human history are called the old gods, and gods like Darkseid who have never appeared in human legends are called new gods. The picture shows a situation of the Apocalypse star, where it is dark, like a world of blood and fire, where there is a strong back standing with his hands behind his back, and his back facing the common people. Just looking at the back, everyone felt an indescribable suffocation. Even Odin felt the pressure. Darkseid controls one of the most powerful forces in the universe, but luckily the Justice League will face only one of his duplications in the multi-universe. More fortunately, now, they only use the Steppenwolf to deal with Darkseid's subordinates. The Steppenwolf came to the Earth to find the Mother Box and occupy the Earth and dedicate it to Darkseid. As early as thousands of years, according to human algorithms, Darkseid, who was only 8 years old, had already brought an army to the Earth, intending to occupy the Earth. But he encountered the guardian power of the Earth, an army composed of the gods of Olympus, Green Lantern, Amazons, Atlanteans, humans. With the narration, the picture has switched to the picture of a group of powerful Earthmen fighting against Darkseid's army thousands of years ago. The picture that Sube cut out is the picture in the Justice League with the guide plate. A human army in armor appears in the picture, and in front of the human army are three giants. A giant was naked, with strong muscles like it was carved out of rock, with golden runes shining on his arms. Another giant was fully armored, with a helmet like horns on his head, and he held a battle axe. There is also a huge female warrior in simple clothes, holding a bow and arrow, and the arms are also shining with strange runes behind them. There is a tall alien race. This alien race is wearing armor, and a green brilliance shines on its chest. Wonder Woman was stunned at once as he recognized the fully armored helmet wearing deity. She said, "At once, I see. The first giant is Zeus. The one in armor is Ares, the goddess of war. That is the goddess of the bow and arrow is Artemis, the goddess of the moon. She used to be our Amazon, the guardian deity of man. The last person, he should be the legendary alien Asgardian Green Lantern. Are these the gods of Olympus, really mighty?" Batman asked curiously. "Didn't you say you haven't seen the gods?" Wonder Woman said, "I forgot. I saw Ares, and I killed him." As soon as these words came out, everyone felt like they were blown up again. Begging for flowers. Chapter 39. The Battle of Gods begins. Everyone had seen the Asgard gods before. Especially Loki, the evil god, directly lowered the power of the gods. So after knowing that the first three were Zeus, the god of war, and the goddess of the moon, everyone was just excited and excited. There is no sense of awe. But Wonder Woman's words really surprised them. Although the previous video also introduced that Wonder Woman is the daughter of Zeus, demigod body, they have also seen the picture of Wonder Woman fighting Doomsday. But I didn't expect Wonder Woman to be so strong, killing the gods with demigod body. What a magnificent feat this is. You can imagine how tragic the battle was at that time. Although in the legend, Hercules, the demigod Hercules, also beheaded the gods, but that is a legend after all, and this Wonder Woman is a person who lives in front of her. Such a beautiful woman actually possesses such powerful strength. This contrast is too exciting. Batman's heart was relieved again. He felt that this wave, his side was stable. In the picture, there are some huge amounts of spaceships in the sky. Golden flames spewed out from below them, making the whole world dark. An army appeared beneath those spaceships, and Wonder Woman recognized it at a glance, and it was her mother who took the lead. Hippolyta, queen of the Amazons, and Angelope, the general of the Amazons, her aunt. From the golden smoke, small spaceships flew out. The hatch was opened on the small spaceship, and a majestic figure appeared. That was Darkseid. Then Darkseid jumped down, smashing the weapon in his hand against the ground. A golden brilliance exploded in an instant, and an extremely terrifying explosion spread across the entire plane. The ground cracked open, and the smoke and dust shot straight into the sky, forming a mushroom cloud. This time, even Batman with a level 10 wisdom couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Darkseid's power is also too terrifying. With a single blow, the power is comparable to a nuclear explosion. Iron Man's expression also changed. When I was still laughing at these aliens fighting, I didn't take advantage of my own advantages and gave priority to using artillery to wash the ground. I only now realize how naive I'm thinking. With such a powerful force, what artillery base is needed? A casual blow is like a nuclear explosion. Your world can actually repel these aliens. It looks strong, but it's not impossible to handle, Superman said. It's just that Superman doesn't know that Darkseid is still too young. He has not yet mastered the power of Omega Light, and he has not mastered the anti-life equation. At this time, Darkseid is really not too strong. Then something unexpected happened. On the ground bombarded by Darkseid, there was an incomparably huge golden figure that spread to all the cracks. Batman asks Wonder Woman, "What is this?" Wonder Woman shook her head. "I don't know." Iron Man said, "Could it be some kind of magic circle?" Now that his mind is very broad, he can guess boldly. Odin shook his head and said, "Although we are in different universes, magic may behave differently, but these things were not carved on the ground by Darkseid, but were originally on the ground, but were previously covered by a thick layer of soil." Batman's eyes narrowed, and he said, "I answered that question earlier, that those aliens invaded, and I still want to find a more powerful force on Earth. Is this what it is?" With Luthor here, he wouldn't say these words. It's an enemy point. If you have time, you can find this ancient battlefield and study this thing. But Luthor also thought of this, only he decided to go to the mother box first. After all, the power of the mother box is certain, and the power of this magical pattern is still unknown. Then countless spaceships fell, and from the strangely shaped spaceships, several strange races in black robes walked out. And in front of them are 3 square boxes that are constantly changing. Everyone knows this is the mother box. The narration sounded, "This is the mother box, indestructible, with its own vitality, like a living thing. They have unimaginable powers that can open up sound blasting tunnels and allow the army of Apocalypse to descend. They can also arbitrarily decompose the molecular structure of reconstituted substances and can also emit various powerful shock waves. When the 3 boxes are merged into one, a unified force will be formed, and the unified force will purify the entire planet with fire and convey it to the world that Z needs, and the humans on the planet will be completely enslaved by Darkseid, lose their consciousness, and become puppet-like demons." At this time, everyone knew that those strange aliens with wings were called demonoids. And where did they come from? Batman clenched his fist tightly. He would never let this happen. He would never let human beings become enslaved demons. And Luthor's face is equally solemn. The aliens are more terrifying than he imagined, and they can modify the ecology of the Earth at will. He thinks that this time, he might put down all kinds of prejudices with Batman and join forces to deal with these aliens. Looking at the countless enemies on the screen, Hippolyta, the queen of the Amazons, drew out her long sword and roared, "Amazon warriors, charge!" With this battle cry, they rushed straight into the sky, and they actually started to charge with their flesh and blood against those demon-like attacks. Countless Amazons fell on the charge. Oh, but they were fearless warriors of the Amazon have never been fearless. Then they collided with the same kind of demons, like 2 waves crashing together. Countless fiends and Amazons fell again. Wonder Woman looks hot. She has Amazonian blood. She is actually very warlike. She can't wait to be born on the battlefield now and fight side by side with her mother and sisters. Then they saw Artemis, the goddess of the moon. She opened her bow and arrow, and the magic pattern in her hand and the long sword in her hand showed golden brilliance. She is the goddess of the moon and the goddess of hunting, and she was originally the guardian of the Amazons. With just this arrow, she killed an alien race that controlled the mother box. Then the legendary Starfield Asgardian, his whole body exudes green brilliance, soaring into the sky. Countless green brilliance swept across and hit a large area of enemies. He was the Green Lantern who was in charge of guarding this sector in ancient times. The war broke out completely. Everyone's eyes were fixed on this mythical battle in ancient times. Ask for 2 flowers. Chapter 40 Resurrection of Superman. The angry Loki, Zeus, who was nearly 5 meters high, pulled his hands, and a sturdy lightning bolt appeared in his hands. When he hit it, it seemed like a large-scale AoE damage. Countless tear demons fell, turned into fly ash, and immediately cleared the field. At this time, the Asgardians on Earth discovered the most striking enemy on the battlefield. Darkseid. The legendary heroes who are enough to spread in the legend have no resistance in the face of Darkseid. Like crushing bugs, he crushed these legendary heroes to death one by one. At this time, the Green Lantern in ancient times stepped forward and sent a brilliant green light to Zeus. This Green Lantern doesn't seem to use the green light ring to change shape, but can only use the energy of the light ring to emit energy beams in the face of Green Lantern's attack. Darkseid chopped off his hand with a thrust and then pinned him to the ground with his spear. The whole process was as easy as killing a chicken. Darkseid is intrigued by Green Lantern's green light ring and is about to reach for it. But at this moment, the goddess of the moon found an opportunity and once again opened the bow and arrow. The runes on the whole body were bright, and the long arrow was covered with golden brilliance, and then the two arrows were fired, hitting Darkseid's chest. Darkseid snorted coldly and broke the long arrow in his chest. At this time, the king of ancient Atlantis summoned a wave-like energy shock and actually repelled Darkseid head on. Just when Darkseid was about to fight back, Zeus roared, and an incomparable rumor, comparable to the electric light of the sun, hit Darkseid. Darkseid roared, resisted Zeus' attack with the weapon in his hand, and took a few steps back. Then Ares, the god of war, saw this scene. He found an opportunity, and a jump cut off Darkseid's spear. The giant axe blessed by the god slashed directly on Darkseid's shoulder and kicked Darkseid out with one kick. Darkseid fell to the ground, and his men retreated with the seriously injured Darkseid. At this time, the mother core was about to be fully integrated, and Zeus roared again, a lightning that was as strong as it was about to burn, and the mother box, which was about to be integrated, was opened directly with a single blow. The goddess of the moon fired an arrow again, hitting a spaceship. With one blow, the spaceship was completely destroyed and turned into fireworks in the sky. Darkseid was defeated, and the ancient war of gods ended. The narrator said, the mother box cannot be destroyed, so the mother box was handed over to the Amazons, Atlantis and humans to guard. The battle scene only lasted for a few minutes, but the shock to everyone was huge amounts of point. Although Sube edited the video, when these people saw it, they could feel the terrifying aura emanating from the characters on the battlefield. The grace of God is like the sea, and the power of God is like a prison. In this battlefield, where legendary heroes fell like soldiers, the performance of the gods was so powerful. Batman looked at Wonder Woman in shock. Unbelievable. Darkseid's blow is comparable to a nuclear explosion. Ares can cut off the weapon and seriously injure him. And you can kill Ares. Everyone couldn't help but swallow their saliva. Wonder Woman, the demigod, is too strong. Wonder Woman shook her head and said, yes, the god of war was sealed by Zeus after the war and exiled. When I killed him, his power was no longer as good as it was in ancient times. The most important thing is that Ares, the god of war, is the god of war. His divine power is war. The larger the scale of the war and the more intense the fighting spirit, the stronger his divine power will be. When I killed him, his strength was less than a third of what he had previously shown. Odin said, Zeus in your world is as powerful as my old friend. I can't imagine that even he can't destroy the mother box. If it stays on the earth sooner or later, why not throw it into the universe? Do the authors so powerful that they cannot be astronauts? Iron Man could not help but said, the gods do not know exactly what the divine principle, Selene arrow almost comparable to a nuclear bomb actually destroyed the spaceship. Too strong. Darkseid, hard by two arrows actually has not been much hurt. His body was more powerful. Iron Man is no reason to think the Thanos felt they like. Thanos crush unarmed, thought Loki scream. The body will not be strong enough to Thanos degree Darkseid. Right. Magneto Lenghang heard. If I'm on the battlefield, I'm a person can solve all the aliens. Professor X shook his head and said, no, you cannot. You can control the magnetic field in the metal, but your strength is limited. Their body's too strong. You cannot be afraid to break their defense, and your flesh simply cannot afford any of them. Blow gently touches you die. Ancient God of War brings everyone impact is huge amounts of In particular, Batman and Luthor, they have to face the thought of such an intruder. The mood is a little heavy. Actually Superman, estimate in the hearts of their own. If the previous Darkseid hard, just to be a problem or not. Anyway, long live to see the destruction of Luthor would not let him come up with the date on the line. Day of destruction does not occur, and that they will not die. That time itself is enough to fight the Nasdaq seed. Narrator continued. Death of Superman box, so that the mother is automatically activated. Transmit a message in the depths of the universe. The Nasdaq seed men General Steppenwolf received information, locating the Earth, and took the opportunity to open a sonic boom channel. With a kind of magic came to the Earth. Came to the Paradise Island Amazons. Screen. Female Amazon warriors around the box. Restlessness. The guard. Followed by a white landing. Steppenwolf on Earth. Amazon people desperate counterattack. Huge casualties. See their compatriots killed. Wonder Woman fist grip tightly. As long as this son of a B*** ***ch dare to Earth, I must first cut him. Amazon really brave people. Their strength is also very strong. Physical strength far beyond ordinary human beings, but they still beat Steppenwolf and magic and class army. Even a few legendary heroes died in the hands of Steppenwolf. Even Wonder Woman's mother, Queen Hippolyta the Amazon is also almost died. But in the end the mother box all taken away by them. Then, Steppenwolf box by Raw call the mother, but also found Atlantis parent box. This wooden box also taken away. But at this time Cyborg found wrong. He took his mother box hiding. Narrator think. Steppenwolf box with mother came to Chernobyl. They are ready to use the power of the transformation of the whole Earth mother box. And this time Batman also find a Cyborg. Invited him to join their team. They found the mother's box of human guardian. After learning to the properties of the base box, Batman made a bold idea. Cyborg power of the parent box homology. The mother can control box. The box can be decomposed using the mother characterization of recombinant molecular structure. The resurrection of Superman. Loki heard this about anger. Previous question I answered that Superman is dead. You say I'm wrong. I deducted the life of 1,000 years. Now, Superman is not live. He was too angry. He felt that the sight is broken in his Cthulhu for adults. If found behind this broken sight. To let you know, when our Loki is cruel, seeking flowers, chapter 41. 41st chapter of the world at his feet rebirth look a little, Batman them to revive Superman, indicating that before Superman is indeed dead, you definitely wrong. The speaker was Iron Man. As long as there is the opportunity to hate Loki, he will not let go of. Loki not stupid, how he did not know the truth. But he is not satisfied mind, heart unhappy, but they do nothing on this website. Iron Man Loki would like to see this incompetent furious, but could do nothing in the way. Why did you want to hell to invade Earth? Superman again King had a cry. The sun had his face gave a hint of helpless self-deprecating. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not dead. Jules, how do you seem to have the same thought? I was dead. I also stand before you. Hey. The screen switches again. Batman and his party got Superman's body and one more person in Batman's team. Do not know when Aquaman has also been added to them. Cyborg Superman manipulation of the Mother River will rise again. Red fruit chest dead Superman soaring fell in front of a huge statue of his own metropolis. Directly to the statue shattered. Superman's eyes full of confusion. Justice League Superman few people looked confused. They are also very confused. It seems Superman is resurrected, but Superman's status was a bit wrong. Batman did not know what to engage in, and he was not among these people. There is no moment a person make a decision. Then, Superman's eyes began scanning the Justice League of people to see through their Wufu 6 Tibetan. They see through everything. Cyborg cursed loudly. Superman impunity scanning directly activated his automatic counter system. His hand began to decompose combination. This box is inherited from the mother is free to modify ability molecular structure. He can at any time any part of the body becomes their most lethal weapon. His hand turned into a cannon. An energy cannon directly honks Yang Superman. Superman flashed this channel attack. His eyes red with two hot gaze directed at the Cyborg. Another Cyborg's hand becomes the hot side shield. Anxious sight of Superman was a direct hit. Fly out. Aquaman jumped toward the Superman, Do not want to be Superman. Punch hit fly. Batman said, this is the King of Atlantis future than the ancient King of Atlantis, a lot worse. Atlantis. When the previous king of the ancient battlefield, but can just come off Darkseid's now Arthur. Not even Superman. Punch have received no less generations are. His words have not finished. Wonder Woman is holding a shield in one hand and sword rushed Superman. But Superman is also a punch will fly out to play Wonder Woman. Batman then stopped short. But Wonder Woman killed over the presence of heirs. Wonder Woman said, although that time is not in the state of heirs, but the ancient god's heirs on the battlefield, but a direct hit Nasdaq seed, no matter how weak and limited. Wonder Woman can kill him and has proven his own power, but this Wonder Woman also blocked no less than Superman. Punch. Aquaman not only shows that bad, but Superman is too strong. Cyborg again issued 2 energy waves to Superman. And this time there is no Flash. Flash Yin Kang received energy waves. Skins are not broken. It makes people think this guy's able to carry the main black flash bombs. Wonder Woman to stand up again, thrown his lasso of truth. Want a Superman bondage. But Wonder Woman have actually been pulled past Superman. Superman a pinching her neck and she was put up. Aquaman again assault. Trident Menpy. Likewise Superman grabbed. Cyborg also fly up behind numerous spray flames. Full power. 3 full makeout to be locked into Superman. The Flash started to run into the rapidly forces rapid force, as if another time and space, as if everything in the world here are extremely slow. Only the Flash normal operations. Originally it was impossible to see now the Flash, but Superman's attention was turning to follow his shadow. Superman opened directly to that 3 lun, a punch to the Flash. The Flash. Superman chase. Playing the Flash find any point and live. At this time there was Batman with Superman's girlfriend Lois. Future. Louise saw Superman as if recovered memories. Holding Louise saw disappear. Then Loki finally could not resist. You do what, Justice League? I think no matter what the Steppenwolf or Darkseid, Superman has a man is enough. Do not say Loki. The others do not give birth to such a feeling. Superman is too strong. Just resurrection still weak. Others will find any Justice League play. This made Batman and Wonder Woman were a little embarrassed. In this case, the screen switches again. Justice League crowd. As if in a strange world. Batman with alien cannon sniper like magic. Cyborg desperately to control the Mother River. The Flash lying on the floor. Waist injury. Wonder Woman leaning. Aquaman Arthur drilled out from the rubble. On the other side, Superman is explosive hammer. Steppenwolf previously played Atlantis and the Amazons did not fight back. The mighty powerful. But in the face of Superman, he was slaughtered like a lamb. And general. Powerless and weak. The hearts of all the audience yitan. Sure enough, to what Justice League, Superman is enough. That one person Kryptonian too strong. Just at this time, Cyborg yelled, Barry, did not you? Outside, the Flash desperate to climb up. But it seems it was too late. Mother of 3 in front of the box integration of Cyborg. Then an incredible burst of energy out of the direct decomposition nearest Cyborg female box power direct parent box. Then Superman flesh and blood body also began to be falling apart. Then, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Batman, everything is broken down. All the power of the parent box into nothingness. Only the Flash blankly watching it all. Although he saw slip, but seemed to understand what happened. His rapid force seems to have changed. He and blow himself. Well, Barry, this time you have to break your limit. You have to run faster than light. Faster. Then, desperately waving his hands, every waving have brought a flash of lightning. Then he bolted forward, cracked ground back to normal. Rebuild shattered building. Batman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Cyborg, who has been completely decomposed body of the mother box. The body once again restored. The whole world is reborn at the foot of the Flash. This is exactly what happened. All viewers saw this scene are stupid. They are heart pounding, mind blank, do not understand what happened. Begging for flowers. Asterisk if you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 40 to the Desperate Future. The scene in front of them has even exceeded the scope of miracles. Everyone's brains can't help but tremble, and even the gods are amazed by it. Professor X traveled back to this era because of Wolverine's previous consciousness. He had a similar experience and was the first to react. The Flash said he had to run faster than light. He surpassed the speed of light and turned back time. Running faster than the speed of light to reverse time is too exaggerated, and this is almost the ultimate imagination of human beings. Iron Man said directly, no, time doesn't work like this. Even if you can really travel to the past, you can't change the future. You just created a time stream. This time, Batman retorted. Is your theoretical model of time wrong? You change the present, and naturally you change the future. For the first time, Luthor agreed with Batman. The two sides almost quarreled. Here's Odin saying, I agree with Iron Man, but I don't think Batman is wrong either. Everyone was stunned. Iron Man came back to his senses and punched his palm. Yes, we are in different worlds, and different worlds have different rules. This sentence has been recognized by all. At this time, the social channel narration sounded again. The members of the Justice League all have unique abilities, and they are all indispensable characters in the Alliance. If they work together, Steppenwolf is nothing to fear. It's Darkseid that is really worth their worry. The screen switches again, this time to the Apocalypse star. Darkseid appeared again, still standing with his hands behind his back, and his back to the common people. A sonic boom channel appeared behind him, but the channel was closing. The head of the Steppenwolf below was chopped off by Wonder Woman, flew through the sonic boom channel, and fell to Darkseid's feet. But Darkseid didn't care at all, and with a random kick, the head of this loyal subordinate was directly crushed, and then the channel was closed. The Jester Desert beside Darkseid said, I said long ago that Steppenwolf will fail. Darkseid didn't care. Then use the ancient method to mobilize the fleet to attack the Earth. I feel it. The anti-life equation is on Earth. The screen switched again and came to a wasteland. In the sky is Darkseid's spaceship. The land is barren. Countless human bones lie on the ground, and countless demons are flying in the sky. Batman, holding a gun, said, the vigilance is over. After speaking, Cyborg, the Flash walked out of a scrapped car. On the other side came a woman with 3 prongs in her hand. Everyone was a little familiar. That was Mera, the Atlantean queen who had previously fought against Steppenwolf in the sea. Aquaman's wife. He'll find us soon, Cyborg said. Batman said, I would find a place where he would never want to hide. Mera, the queen of the sea, slammed the trident on the ground. Let him come. I will pierce his heart and avenge Arthur. Seeing this, Loki rejoiced and said, it seems that you have failed. The world is still captured by Darkseid. You are hiding like mice. This fellow is a mouthful. For Loki's taunting, Batman and the others ignored it and just focused on the screen. On the other side of them, a weird laugh sounded, and Batman walked over, only to see an unexpected acquaintance sitting in the front of the car. Joker. The two started hurting each other, and Joker said, I killed your adopted son Robin. He died horribly. Batman said, Harley Quinn screamed worse than Robin when he died in my arms. And when Harley Quinn died, let me kill you, and before I killed you, I tortured you and made you scream even more. Harley Quinn. The new name seemed to break Joker's defenses, his lips and fingers trembling. In the end, the two seem to have reached some sort of reconciliation. Batman, who is watching the video, is shocked. I will work with Joker in the future. This is impossible. Who is Harley Quinn? But at this moment, Cyborg in the video said, he's here. His hands turned into energy cannons, and 2 more Gatlings grew out of his back. Then, there was a burst of noise from the sky. A very familiar figure descended from the sky. He raised his head. His eyes were red. It was Superman. Seeing this scene, Superman didn't even blink his eyes. What's going on? Why do we seem to be enemies again? Shouldn't we work together to fight Darkseid? Batman said, from my conversations with Joker, it's probably someone's death that made this change in you. Damn. It said in my first walkthrough video, Joker killing Lois will make you a human enemy. Did he really kill Louise? Even If a determined person like Batman thinks that he may have to deal with Superman and Darkseid in the future, your heart sinks, and countless plans pour out of your heart. He began to miss the time when he only had to deal with characters like Penguin, Riddler and Scarecrow. The narration sounded. Darkseid invaded Earth, Superman fought Darkseid, but Louise died in the war. Desperate and insane, Superman is controlled by an anti-life equation and becomes the Justice League's worst enemy. This is the second time that the anti-life equation has been mentioned. Darkseid said earlier that he came to Earth to find this thing. Batman immediately thought of the golden pattern that appeared when Darkseid attacked the ground. Could it be an anti-life equation? The narration continued. Facing Superman and Darkseid at the same time, the Justice League is extremely difficult. How can we break this deadlock? Take the Flash back in time. Don't let the mother box activate, and throwing it into space will greatly delay that time. But for the anti-life equation, Darkseid, who has an infinite lifespan, will find the Earth no matter what, and the Justice League will eventually face Darkseid. So, in the face of such a situation, with two such terrifying enemies, how should Batman emerge victorious? I'm writing about the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, which scored a 9, and the other theatrical version, which is a 3. The difference is huge. The director's version is much better than the theater version in terms of details and plot. There is Darkseid in the scene, and the final Superman is anti-life formula black. For readers who haven't seen it, you can make it up if you are interested. Really, it's full of details and a lot of plot. Finally, ask for flowers. Chapter 43 High Dimensional Observer, Subay. There is a proverb about the Justice League in DC. Good times rely on Superman. Bad times rely on Batman. Desperate times rely on the Flash. And bad times rely on ZHA Kang. That is to say, if it is normal to fight with the enemy, then Superman is the main force. If the enemy is particularly strong and can't open the situation, then only rely on Batman. If the Justice League encounters a desperate situation, it can only send DC's big move, relying on the Flash to restart the world line. If there is not even a chance of life and the absolute dead end, it can only rely on Constantine. Judging from the Justice League with the guide plate, it should still let the Flash restart the timeline to solve the problem of Darkseid. But if Subay does this strategy, he feels that the audience will not feel fresh. And if you pull another character that has not appeared in the movie version, this strategy will be meaningless. You might as well pull out and find the director to change the ending, although it is just nonsense to do strategy. But this is definitely not scene. Subay felt that no matter how much nonsense he made, he had to have some basis. His narration sounded in the video. Darkseid is very strong. Superman is also very strong, but has appeared on Earth and can fight against their ruthless characters. That's Doomsday. Luthor can create Doomsday, and so can Batman. When facing Darkseid and Superman, he can create Doomsday by himself and fight fire with fire. If one is not enough, make several more. Hearing Subay's nonsense strategy, Superman couldn't help but get angry because Doomsday was created based on the corpse of the Nemesis. At least in this movie universe. Superman would never allow them to trample on the corpses of their compatriots like this. Superman looked at Batman and Luthor and said, "If I find out you guys are making Doomsday, I swear I'll throw you into the Sunday." This is almost the worst thing that Superman has said. Neither Batman nor Luthor spoke, and no one knew what was on their minds at this point. Batman's second walkthrough video is finally over. Everyone was a little silent, and they felt a little depressed when they thought that they would face such a powerful enemy. After the video ended, a new question was raised. Who will Louise be killed in the future? 1. Joker. 2. Darkseid. 3. Batman. 4. Luthor. This question is awesome. Everyone was shocked. If Louise was killed by Joker and Darkseid, that's fine. If it's Luthor and Batman, this Superman didn't know what to think. And Superman thought about it and replied, Batman. Batman was stunned for a moment. With his 10th level wisdom, he didn't understand why Superman thought he would kill Louise. Superman said to Batman, "If Joker and Darkseid kill Louise in the future, I will be very angry, but after all they are intruders and bastards. Doing this kind of thing is foreseeable. Luthor has a problem with his brain. He has already thought about kidnapping Louis in the future. He will kill Louis. I'm also very angry, but it is also within the scope of prediction. But if you killed her, I wouldn't understand. At this time, Superman has just met Louise and has not yet developed into a boyfriend and girlfriend. At this point the website said, correct answer. Everyone was stunned this time. Know that Batman is a no killer. He doesn't even kill criminals. When he catches them. Will he kill a powerless Louis? This is impossible. Batman himself thought it was impossible. All kinds of thoughts flashed. He said to Superman, I can never kill people. This may be a misunderstanding. Like when Loki said you were dead, but you came back to life. Superman felt that was a plausible explanation, saying, since we know this will happen, it can be prevented. It won't happen in the future. Superman is not stupid, he is just a kind. Then the website said to Superman, if you answer correctly, you will be rewarded with a bottle of special medicine, which can clear the genetic weakness of Kryptonians, and no longer fear kryptonite. Superman is a little happy. After all, no one wants to have such a well-known weakness. As for what Batman and Luthor thought, it is unknown. At this point, Iron Man said, we still have an hour to communicate. Everyone, I'm very willing to exchange some technical issues with you. I also thought you could have a little bit of advice on the future we are going to face. Batman said, their world will be in crisis, and it's definitely good to have someone with advice. Time goes by so fast. Ding. Someone answered a question correctly. Reward the Upmaster, the ability of the high dimensional observer. Bay woke up suddenly. He felt as if he heard this sound intermittently in his sleep. Then he sat, feeling a little out of place. How do I wear a ring on my hand, much like the green light ring in the DC movie? Could it be that I bought a Green Lantern lamp ring at a treasure? No. How can I feel his power and I seem to be able to use it? At this moment, he recalled all the rewards of the system last night. Fragment of Phoenix Force, 500-year lifespan, macroscopic magic principle, green light ring, teleportation ability, and high dimensional observer. He understands every ability clearly and knows how to use it. Everyone in Subay was shocked. Before, he didn't take the mysterious prizes mentioned by this website to heart at all. But he didn't expect it would bring him such a big surprise. His body suddenly disappeared from the room and appeared on the other side of the earth. Standing on top of the Statue of Liberty. Subay smiled. My gold finger is awesome. After a long time, his mood calmed down. But why do I just post a video? The website can give me such a big reward. What website is this? Is it my system? Could it be that the person watching this website is the original owner of the video? The voice of the website sounded, yes, any video you edit can appear in the video's own universe for them to see. After the website is upgraded and redesigned, you can only upload 3 videos at a time, and you can ask questions to the protagonist of the video at the end of the video. Whether the original owner of the video answered correctly or not, you will receive some rewards. Upload every 10 days. At that moment, Subay was shaking with excitement. He immediately thought about Asgard and wanted to teleport himself to Asgard with the teleportation ability. But he failed. He murmured, it turns out that, at most, it can only be teleported on this planet. Even with the blessing of the Phoenix Force, it can be teleported in this universe at most. Also, Phoenix Force, although it is a multi-universe force, each universe's Phoenix Force is just a duplication, and my force is still a fragment of Phoenix Force. Bay went through his ability once. Phoenix Force will provide him with powerful psychic power, insight into people's hearts, and psychokinesis. Movement is not a problem. With a lifespan of 500 years, any emperor is willing to trade his throne for Subay. Macroscopic magic theory allows him to develop his own magic. The teleportation ability allows one to move freely in this universe. And the ability of being a high dimensional observer can directly allow him to observe parallel universes. Thinking of this, Subay immediately activated. As a high dimensional observer's ability, the original owner of those videos had formed a connection with him. Through this connection, he could use the high dimensional observer's ability to see their situation. Subay is very curious After reading his strategy, what will these original owners do if they listen to their own nonsense and ruin the world? It would be a sin. The first thing he saw was Iron Man. In the early stage, the protagonist's role is very small. The first is to get up. The slow is to control the development of the multi-universe. Ask for flowers. Asterisk chapter 44 The saliva of Quicksilver and Scarlet. Which? Iron Man in his lab. There are huge amounts of old server components in his lab, almost filling up his lab. That is the server where Drive Hydra Zola's consciousness resides. Although it has only been a few hours since Sube woke up, many days have passed in this world. The flow of time in the two worlds is different, and only when Sube observes this world will the flow of time be the same. And Iron Man had already taken Dr. Zola. The solution is simple. Although Dr. Zola uploaded his consciousness to the server and turned it into an artificial intelligence, his technology was flawed, and his consciousness could not leave the server after all. In his time, the internet was not yet prosperous. He can only manipulate Hydra's secret network through this server. So Iron Man just cut off the power to Dr. Zola's computer room and took it away. Then the network was disconnected. Dr. Zola was re-energized, and Dr. Zola was thoroughly studied from beginning to end. Then format the entire server and destroy these servers' drive. Zola no longer exists, and Iron Man has learned a lot about artificial intelligence and made many breakthroughs. He already has the confidence to make artificial intelligence. It's just that there is no confidence in making AI fully controllable. Then Iron Man said, JARVIS, execute the plan. Drive. Zola has a lot of information about Hydra in his hands these days. In the end, he chose to cooperate with Nick Fury. Because if he is the only one who shoots, the people in SHIELD can't tell the difference, and it will cause unimaginable damage. Alexander Pierce, former SHIELD director, now one of the members of the World Security Membership Council. His female secretary came in and served his favorite coffee. He said politely, "Thank you, Suferi." After he finished speaking, he took a sip of coffee. Then he suddenly felt a dizziness in his head, and the old-fashioned experience of the former agent made him immediately know that he was tricked. He clenched his tongue to stimulate himself with pain, at the very least, to sound the alarm before he got hit. But it was too late. Sufei slashed his neck with a knife, and he fainted. And Sufei tore off the mask on her face. She was actually Black Widow. This scene plays out in many places at the same time. Nick Fury sends Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Captain the United States to capture all of the Hydra bigwigs he's gotten from the Captain. Then they got a list of almost half of the Hydra Dark Sons and SHIELD from their mouths. Naturally, these lists cannot be complete. Nick Fury couldn't care less, and even found the help of the Skrulls parked in space to carry out a major cleaning of the interior of SHIELD. It was bloody for a while. At the same time, countless steel armors appeared at Fort Sternak. It was a barony of a small Central European country. That baron is Baron Strucker, one of the chiefs of Hydra. He is also a high-tech talent of Hydra, and he inherited Hydra's research on Tesseract during World War II. Unfortunately, Tesseract is still in SHIELD under Nick Fury's control. He only experimented with some residual energy from the Tesseract left by the previous Hydra. He had two good experimental samples, a pair of twins. The two samples were very compatible, and he was reluctant to waste them. He just waited for Tesseract to get his hands on it, and then used two people to test it. At this time, suddenly there was a wave of shaking. His castle was attacked, and the Hydra soldiers on the outside could not resist. Baron Strucker looked at him and saw that he was actually a steel armor. Damn it, it's Tony Stark, I exposed. He immediately communicated to the other Hydra leaders. At the same time, the residual energy of the Tesseract collected before was used to transform the two twins. A few minutes later, the two steel armors directly broke through the top of the castle, fell from top to bottom, and fell in front of Baron Strucker, knock him directly to the ground. Iron Man in battle armor also fell down. He looked at the two boys and girls bathed in the remaining power of Tesseract, and his face changed slightly. He already recognized the two as Quicksilver and Skull. At which point are they actually created by Hydra? This is the power of Tesseract. Damn it. No wonder they are so strong. They were created with the power of Tesseract. The next moment, Quicksilver opened his eyes suddenly. He looked at Iron Man and said, "Tony Stark, you hypocrite, are you here to kill us?" After he finished speaking, his figure turned into a streamer and shattered the glass of the laboratory. Glass in the lab is even more shattered than bulletproof glass, and theoretically it's impossible to shatter, but Quicksilver slapped the bulletproof glass for an instant, causing him to resonate. His super speed had been fired, and he charged at Iron Man, punching him. He didn't know why he was so quick all of a sudden, but he couldn't care less about the enemy he was thinking about all the time. But he didn't want to. Suddenly, as if he had hit something, his body seemed to be stuck in a quagmire. And under his feet, and on his hands, 4 beams were wrapped around him, locking him firmly. Those rays of light are the energy rays of energy that countless nano-robots push with all their strength. Iron Man said, "This is a barrier that I finally made using nanotechnology to deal with speeders. Fortunately, although you are fast, you are not faster than the speed of light. Listen, I know what happened to you. I admit, I made a mistake." Proud, like Iron Man, admitting mistakes to someone for the first time. Then a voice sounded, "It's too late, Scarlet," which appeared behind him at some point, and he didn't even notice the nano-restrained belt he made. Scarlet Witch taught himself without a teacher, and pressed his hands to Iron Man's head with red light. She wants to implant fearful visions into Iron Man, and even control Iron Man's mind. But Iron Man turned his head and said, "That doesn't seem to work for me. Can we talk?" The last time he communicated with other audience members of the multi-universe, he did nothing. He got the technology to make the Magneto helmet from Magneto. Magneto's helmet isolates Professor X's mind control, a technology he applies to his helmet, hoping to counter Scarlet Witch's control. Scarlet Witch's human mind control is a little different from Professor X, but there are always some similarities. In addition, the current Scarlet Witch is not familiar with her ability at all, and it is the first time to use it, so she misses it. This time Scarlet Witch was taken aback. Iron Man said, "Really, I have no ill intentions. I really want to tell you that it wasn't me who blew up your house in the first place. I just produced weapons. If a person kills you with a knife, you should blame the person who held the knife, not the knife. The knife is just a murder weapon, and has no thoughts. But I know that's not the case, because without this knife, the killer may not have killed Deadman. I apologize to you." 4. Flowers. Chapter 45 Winter Soldier and Iron Man. Scarlet Witch Wanda Maximoff has imagined revenge on Iron Man Tony Stark countless times, but she never thought that Tony Stark would sincerely apologize to her as soon as they met. What is this? The new game of the rich, pretending to be a good person? That's abominable. What's the use of apologizing? You didn't kill people, but you provided the weapons, and you were also an accomplice. Damn you. She was full of anger, as if she was self-taught without a teacher, and suddenly felt strange. Then he raised his hand and shook it, and countless tiny lightning bolts burst out in the air. Iron Man's nanobots have been suspended in the air like dust, surrounding Iron Man. This is the restrained belt Iron Man created to deal with Quicksilver. These nanorobots have only one program, that is, when they encounter extremely fast objects, they will use their bodies to form a chain to bind it. But now with the Scarlet Witch, they're all scrapped with just one hit. This application of ability is simply amazing. Iron Man was startled and didn't dare to be careless for fear of being killed by Scarlet Witch. But she didn't want him to be surprised. Scarlet Witch was even more surprised. It was the first time she used her power, and she had no idea how strong her power could be, or how far she could achieve it. She didn't even know what those little things she squeezed to death were, which made her feel a little scared. And Quicksilver had already been electrocuted by Iron Man, and fell to the ground. So she reached out and grabbed it, grabbed Quicksilver from the air, flew up and ran. Really no combat experience in this way. She has completely become the target of the Iron Legion. Iron Man breathed a sigh of relief and did not choose to leave her, but said, "This world is in danger, and there will be powerful aliens invading the Earth. I need your help, Scarlet." Which just thinks he's bullshitting. She looked at the dense steel legions in front of her and felt her scalp tingling, so she would try to use her power to destroy these steel legions. Can it be done? She has no confidence, but the Iron Legion suddenly dispersed, showing a way for them to leave. One of the steel mechas also threw out a mobile phone. Iron Man said, "I'll give you a call. When the time comes, you can come to me, and I'll prove it to you." Scarlet, which just felt his head was messed up and flew away with Quicksilver. Iron Man's helmet disappeared and he rubbed his temples. It was the first time he had done something like an apology, and he didn't know if he did a good job. He is willing to apologize for what happened to Wanda. He is willing to do his best to make amends. He does not want to hurt the two brothers and sisters. He will become an Iron Man, fight crime all the time, and also mean to make amends for his early mistakes and fight for his own life and death several times. In addition to inner justice, there is also such a reason, but he didn't want to die just like that. So, if Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are going to keep fighting him, he's going to have a real headache. And the other side. A fierce battle broke out within SHIELD. In the beginning, SHIELD had the upper hand. But when those Hydra secrets were caught, the change happened. Those Hydra shadows who were not on the list started to fight back. Since no one knew who they were, their counterattacks inflicted huge amounts of casualties on SHIELD. Luckily SHIELD has Hawkeye, Black Widow and Captain the United States. They are far beyond the strength of ordinary people, and they beat SHIELD''s Hydra secrets to tears. But that's when a Hydra warrior with a mask and a steel arm appeared. He appeared directly in front of the United States captain and staggered the United States captain. He's shown more strength than the crossbones the United States captain has faced before. The captain of the United States fought him with a shield in hand, and it was a close match. The two of them fought desperately to kill each other. Suddenly the captain of the United States hit backhand and lifted the man's mask. Then the captain of the United States was dumbfounded. Because that man was his good friend Bucky Barnes. Bucky took the opportunity to knock him down and run away. At this time, Nick Fury finally appeared, and he said in shock, "Is that the Winter Soldier? Is he Sergeant Barnes?" The United States captain nodded. Everyone else would admit it, but Bucky would never admit it. What is the Winter Soldier? A super hitman who has been active internationally. Natasha Romanoff has played against him. How did Bucky survive and be so young and strong? How could he be a killer? It seems that Sergeant Bucky didn't die after he fell into the cliff. He should have been found by Hydra and transformed into a super soldier similar to you, becoming a Hydra person. The United States captain shook his head and said, "No way, there's absolutely no way Bucky will be in Hydra." Nick Fury said, "Hydra has all kinds of weird technology, and from what we got, they have a kind of brainwashing. Maybe that's how Sergeant Bucky was controlled." The United States captain was furious. "I will save Bucky." Nick Fury sensed something was wrong. Bucky is like this. Whether he has his own thoughts or not, it is difficult to save him. And worst of all, Bucky made him think of something. He had footage of Iron Man's parents being murdered. All he knew at the time was the Winter Soldier, but he knew now that the Winter Soldier was Bucky Barnes. He is the hero of the once beautiful country. If this is known to the outside world, it will be a disaster. Also, he killed Tony Stark's parents. This can be very bad. Tony Stark knew it was going to be crazy. Captain the United States will definitely stop him from killing Bucky, so there will be an irreconcilable conflict between the two. And fighting the aliens requires the strength of both of them. Nick Fury made a decision in his heart to destroy all this information, as if it had never happened, seeing what happened on both sides. Sube felt very interesting. Iron Man acts as an accomplice to kill the parents of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver seek revenge for Iron Man. In this case, Iron Man is the knife in the murderer's hands, and Winter Soldier killed Iron Man's parents. Winter Soldier's mind was controlled. He is also the knife in the hands of the murderer. Looking at it this way, Iron Man and Winter Soldier were so similar in both cases. If Iron Man knew that Winter Soldier was the murderer, would he be desperate to kill Winter Soldier like in the movie? Or would he think of himself from Winter Soldier and show mercy? Sube was very curious. He decided that the next video must be messed up. He must cut this out and see what Iron Man will do. Yeah, am I being too bad? Begging for flowers. Asterisk chapter 46. 46th chapter Kryptonian cum Hydra has been crippled. They even want to start to break the death inside program. Has to die. Inside program. By collecting information and data. To calculate each individual mode of action is to find those who would become Hydra enemies who will kill them in advance. This incredible program. Dr. Zola need to support this super artificial intelligence. Dr. Zola Iron Man has been demolished, so insight into the program cannot start. So, Hydra began lurking. This amazing organization is not so easily eradicated. Winter Soldier has been the United States Captain, Black Widow, and Hawkeye, Nick Fury, 4 people together to pursue. It should not be long before it will be possible to catch him. Nick Fury is not weak. He is also a 9 agent. Fighting skills, physical fitness are super. Sube withdrew his eyesight of things came to an end. And he in turn sights on the world mutant and see the Professor X and Magneto. Now the desert where they have built a prototype of a city, at least a city of metal architecture. Magneto has been doing a good job. They're not only happy but no, actually it is very frustrating because far beyond their imagination that the number of people willing to come here to participate in the founding of mutant too little. A total of less than 50 people. But you know, mutant total of nearly 5,000 people are. Magneto murmured. How could this be? In his mind, mutant in this world suffer discrimination and oppression. Now with their own independent state began to allow them to have their own country to get rid of this oppression. And why they do not want, Professor X said. The first is our little known. Most of them do not believe us. Second, a lot of people actually do not want to be separated from their families. They would rather hide their true identity, living together with their families. Third, not every mutant all agree on. A lot of people hate themselves even as mutant. Close your eyes and hear the words Magneto. He finally came to understand his past, that war completely, and human thoughts are really not because not every mutant are willing to stand beside them. Many mutant humans are also inextricably deep feelings. Even now Professor X is willing to use force against human oppression. He still have feelings for humanity, Professor X continued, but as long as we let them see mutant, where you can live well, but they do not have to be separated from their families, mutant will yearn for us. Magneto frowned. In this case we have established their own country. What is the point? Professor X received. Definitely there is a world identity. National belonging. Mutant is the most powerful support for them. They will know they are not alone. There is a powerful country behind them. It makes them no longer afraid, no longer fear their own helpless. Such things cannot be rushed. Magneto finally understand it, he said. Then come step by step the human aspects of what trends you. Professor X shook his head. I have not seen the president and some important people. The idea of someone interrupted me. Magneto cannot believe it. He knows the power of the mind of Professor X. How strong. Professor X looked to the distance. The world is not only me who telepathy. Human beings should be found. And I like ability mutant. Close protection for them. Magneto immediately thought of White Queen Emma. Originally, she was a subordinate of the Black Emperor Sebastian Zero, and later she mixed with him, but she was caught, and she disappeared. He already knew from Professor X's mouth that the White Queen was dead and had been dissected by Trisk. If Professor X hadn't killed Trisk, he would have ripped Trisk to shreds now. Just a sigh. At the same time, the White House of the beautiful country. The residence of the president. A blonde, sexy and enchanting woman looked into the distance. Charles, is that you? That unimaginably powerful spiritual power was possessed by only Professor X among the people she knew. She was the one who stopped Professor X's probe of the president. Because she is White Queen Emma. Although her body was dissected by Trisk, she actually possesses the mental power second only to Professor X. Before dying, she used her remaining power to escape her own consciousness and enter another woman's brain. Just like in the old version of X-Men. After Professor X died, his consciousness entered his twin brother's brain. She hated the atrocities that humans had done to her. That's why she sneaked into the White House and was ready to control the president and control the country. But I don't want Professor X and Magneto to actually join forces, and they want to join forces to do something big. But she didn't trust Professor X, much less Magneto. She wants to organize a team of her own to take Revenge on mankind. Subei, an observer of Gayaway, saw this scene. It's really interesting. In Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, the White Queen never shows up again. It may have been during the interval between these two major events that she was killed. The world has also become confusing, which is very interesting. Then Subei's eyes continued to search, and finally he found Apocalypse, who was still sleeping. I also saw Dark Phoenix Jane Grey, who was still a little girl. Jane Grey suddenly turned her head, as if looking at the void, at Subei. She saw me. Impossible. What she has on her is only the Phoenix Force of a single universe, and it is absolutely impossible to penetrate the multi-universe. Yes, it was the fragments of the Phoenix Force on me that caught her attention. After all, it is a force that can surpass the multi-universe. However, that's it. It's impossible for her to see Subei. Subei is also looking forward to the development of this world. Then his eyes fell on the DC cinematic universe. He saw the Kryptonian ship come down to Earth after Superman found his father's reconnaissance ship and activated it. General Zod found this place. He directly gave the humans an ultimatum to hand over Superman. 4. Flowers. There are 500 comments and more today. Chapter 47. Luthor the Angry Batman's plan. Facing the ultimatum of the aliens, the people of the beautiful country were very frightened. Although they have recently accepted the existence of Superman, watching such a Superman flying around, saving mankind and fighting crime, many people still admire Superman. But even so, they don't want to fight the aliens. Because of Superman. The aliens are fighting. What does it have to do with me? You aliens are going to beat yourselves. People took to the streets to petition, asking Superman to tie himself up, or asking Superman to leave the Earth and not bring war to the Earth. Luthor was very happy when he saw this scene, because he had been preparing for this moment for a long time. He has been studying kryptonite, inferring what Superman's weakness is from its composition and radioactivity, and using this weakness to infer Superman's body structure and genetic composition. Kryptonite alone can do this. Luthor is so awesome. Although Superman does not have this weakness now, at least we can speculate about Superman's body structure and find a way to defeat Superman. At the same time, he also built his own armor, and he is confident that he can use this mecha to deal with Superman. The Kryptonian is coming, and he is ready to come as a savior to set things right. Go out and kill the quartet, take down all these Kryptonians, and use them all to make Doomsday against Darkseid's invasion. But when he was about to put on the mecha, his expression suddenly changed. What? My kryptonite? Where did my big chunk of kryptonite go? Then he yelled, Bruce Wayne, you be ****************************** D. Who else can do this except the Batman, who is good at stealing chickens and dogs? Originally, the intelligence of the two people was about the same, but Batman was rewarded, and the intelligence was raised to level 10. With Batman's professional skills and more intelligence than Luthor, he is really the only one in the world who can steal his kryptonite under Luthor's full defense. The other side. Superman has automatically appeared in front of the human military. Superman was escorted by an officer, and the human army was lined up behind Superman. A black spot appeared in front of it, the Kryptonian spacecraft, showing an imaginable flexibility and maneuverability, and then slowly stopped in front of Superman. To Kryptonians in armor walked down. The current Kryptonian took off the armor on his face, and turned out to be a beautiful girl. Even after removing the armor, she still has a layer of protection on her face. After all, for Kryptonians, the air in the human world is very uncomfortable and can be said to be poisonous. It also took Superman a long time to get used to the air composition on Earth. The Kryptonian woman said, Kal-El, I'm Deputy Commander Fiona Earl. I greet you on behalf of General Zod. Then Fiona walked towards the human army, and she said to the human commander, General Swan, you are the human commander, General. Zod said, we wanted this woman. She pointed at Lucius, who was in the rear. General Swan's adjutant was furious. You said that you only want your people, but you didn't say that you want ours. Fiona said calmly, do you want me to tell Zhang Jun that you are not willing to cooperate? The adjutant said, I don't care what you tell him. At this time, the officer who escorted Superman said, I'll go with you. I know what you want. Fiona stared at the human officer for a while, and finally nodded. She then entered the Kryptonian flight machine with Superman and the human officer. At this moment, the human officer suddenly took out a box and said, "I know what you want. Is the key to the Superman flight." After saying that, he opened the box. But there was no key in it, just a green stone. Kryptonite Fiona turned pale in shock and already felt powerless. Kryptonite can restrain the Kryptonians so that they can't exert their extraordinary strength and make them weak, but this weakness is only relative to the Kryptonians. They are still very strong for humans, but this officer took the lead with a knife, with a tricky angle and fast speed, which directly stabbed Fiona in the throat, interrupting what she wanted to say. Then another punch slammed into Fiona's stomach, knocking her out. Then, the officer lunged at the other Kryptonian like a bat, moving like lightning, knocking the other Kryptonian to the ground with an elbow and a punch. The officer was, of course, Batman. No Kryptonian can beat Batman when the Kryptonian is about as powerful as a human. When it comes to fighting skills, 100 Superman can't compare to Batman. After all, with Superman's power, he doesn't need any skills to fight people. We said okay, don't kill them, Superman said. Batman said, even if they are going to kill you, Superman said, try to, as planned. How gentle is Superman? There's a joke. One day Superman got mad. Guess what he did? He put the cat he just rescued from the tree back. If you don't completely irritate Superman and touch Superman's bottom line, Superman is really good at talking. As for the plan that Superman said, Luthor's plan was to take down General Zod and his Kryptonians and use them to create Doomsday. And Batman's plan is to take the group of General Zod and form a Kryptonian army to fight against Darkseid. Doomsday's strength is stronger, but it has no reason, and there is no distinction between enemy and me. Although the Kryptonian Legion has reason, it is definitely not a friend, and it is willing to fight for mankind. But Batman is confident of convincing General Zod. He was supposed to be a master negotiator. He glanced at this Krypton spacecraft and drove it away. He has studied it before. The Superman's crib, the Kryptonians' reconnaissance ship, the Kryptonians' flight machine. He can already drive it. Begging for flowers, asterisk. Chapter 48 Batman beats Kryptonians. The hatch opened, and the small aircraft flew into the Krypton mothership. Batman in a Kryptonian battlesuit walked down with Superman. Superman was surprised, because he wanted to attack as soon as he came in, but he felt that he had lost his usual power to move mountains and reclaim the sea. The person who greeted them said, "It's a surprise, doesn't it? This ship can absorb the energy you absorb from the yellow Sunday now. You are only similar to ordinary people on Earth. Be obedient and suffer less, and this absorption is definitely directional, and the Kryptonians in the spacecraft will definitely not be affected." The man said to Batman. That Earthman said he knew where the keys to Clark's spaceship were. Others, Batman, on one side suddenly stabbed and then rushed to the Kryptonian and slashed his aorta with a knife. The Kryptonian was startled and wanted to fight back, but he felt powerless, and his power actually disappeared. It was as if the energy was being absorbed by the spaceship. Could it be an operation error? The spaceship absorbed our power together. With such thoughts, he fainted. Batman looked at Superman and said, "Just stay here and leave it to me." Superman, without divine power, is really just an ordinary strongman. Fighting is not good, and General Zod also discovered the anomaly here. Immediately rushed over with people, surrounded Superman and Batman. There were not many Kryptonians, and together, there were only a dozen people. Then he felt something was wrong, and he suddenly became very weak. He then noticed that Batman had a ring on his finger with a green stone embedded in the paper. His face changed greatly. Kryptonite. How could you have kryptonite? Kryptonite is a product of Kryptonian soil and was originally harmless to Kryptonians, but when Kryptonians absorb the energy of the yellow sun, they will have unimaginable power. But at this time, kryptonite will cause damage to them. Makes them weak, heart palpitations, night sweats. Over time, it will kill them. For them, after absorbing the power of the yellow sun, encountering kryptonite is more terrifying than the black radiation that humans encounter. Then General Zod snorted coldly, "Do you think you can defeat me with kryptonite? You are still far from it, Kryptonian." Occupations are decided before birth point. Because the vast majority of Kryptonians are cultivated through the code of life point, their genes have been repaired before they were born, which determines their future career. Only Superman is an exception, and General Zod was decided before he was born. He was a good fearless warrior. He's skilled and experienced in combat, and he doesn't think an Earthling with kryptonite can beat him. He then charged at Batman. It's not that the Kryptonians don't have their own weapons and must choose hand-to-hand combat, but General Zod and the others are exiled prisoners by transforming their prisons and then looking for abandoned outposts on Krypton. They searched for some garbage and changed the spaceship to look like this. They don't have the spare material and time to develop weapons because they don't need it either. As long as they can bask in the sun from time to time, they themselves are the most powerful weapons. Then General Zod was tragic. No one can beat Batman with little difference in strength. After knocking him down, Batman punched elbows and settled the fight. Within 2 minutes the invincible Kryptonian fell to the ground. General Zod said with a miserable smile, "Unexpectedly, we saw the destruction of the mother planet. Reborn from the destruction, but lost to a small Earthling. Kill. If you want to kill, then." He looked at Superman and said angrily, "You traitor, you actually helped the foreigners attack us." Superman is very innocent. "You are the ones who want to catch me first." Batman walked over to the controller on the side and said, "Now we can start negotiating. I want to know what you want. Why do you have to come to Earth? Why do you have to find Superman?" General Zod said, "Superman's father put the code of life in Superman's body, and his cells contain the genetic code of all Kryptonians. With it, we can restore Kryptonian civilization." Batman worked on the Kryptonian spaceship and then said, "More than that, you also want to transform the Earth and make the Earth a second Krypton." General Zod said, "There are not many planets suitable for survival. We have found the Earth, and we definitely don't want to let it go." Batman felt that if he were General Zod, he would be the last person in human civilization. After finally finding a planet suitable for survival, maybe he will do the same for the continuation of the race. It is understandable. But from the point of view of Earthlings, this is very infuriating. But he still suppressed his anger and said, "I will not kill you. I hope to reach a cooperation with you." General Zorro was surprised. "What kind of cooperation? Help us fight alien invasions?" Batman said. General Zod said, "Do you dare to let us go?" Batman said, "Why not? I have as much as I want for something like kryptonite, and I can promise that if you help us defeat a powerful enemy, I will help you find a planet suitable for your life. The conditions of cooperation are nothing but coercion and inducement." General Zod didn't believe it. "By you?" Batman nodded and said, "Just me, and do you think you have a choice?" Finally, General Zod nodded and agreed with Batman's plan. Without him, because Batman is the winner, the loser is not qualified to negotiate conditions. If only Batman wanted them to serve, they would never agree. They would rather die than submit to the enemy. However, Batman gave them an offer they couldn't refuse. Let the Kryptonian civilization almost continue. Sube looked back, not surprised by the result. The weakness of the Kryptonians is really too obvious. Moreover, these Kryptonians are just a team of rotten people, and they don't have their own weapons. Otherwise, there is some kind of Star Destroyer or the like, and it would not be Batman's turn to be so rampant. This time, the Kryptonian Legion battles Darkseid, and some of them look good. After watching all 3 world changes, Sube began to recut the video. Since no matter which video you cut, it can be seen by the original owner of the video, so there are many choices. It's amazing. Is there a parallel universe for every movie? 4 flowers. Asterisk. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49. Newcomers. Many newcomers. Marvel World. A prompt sounded suddenly in Iron Man's mind. The website will be opened in an hour. I hope the audience will choose a good place and watch it happily. It's been a month or two for Iron Man. Without hesitation, he sent a message to Scarlet Witch directly. As Scarlet Witch left, he gave them a cell phone. On the other hand, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver received a message from Iron Man. Quicksilver angrily said, "What on earth is this guy Tony Stark doing?" The two sisters hate Iron Man very much. Otherwise, they would not willingly join the high energy laboratory and accept the transformation of Hydra. But the last encounter with Iron Man made the two less murderous. It's true that Iron Man just provided the weapon, but that doesn't mean Iron Man is not responsible for his parents' death at all. But Iron Man let them go last time. And most importantly, these two little guys said they wanted to kill Iron Man for revenge, but they didn't even kill a chicken. Scarlet Witch said, "Why don't we go and see? What if there is an alien invasion?" Quicksilver said, "What's our business with the alien invasion? The government, the army, and the Iron Man. Just let them fight." Scarlet Witch said, "I don't want to, but if we don't, maybe what happens in our hometown will happen all over the world." The two were silent, remembering the tragedy in their hometown. Suddenly the two of them understand that even without Iron Man, the tragedy in their hometown would still happen. They really don't want that to happen in the world. Finally Quicksilver said, "Then let's go and see." With that, he picked up the Scarlet Witch, started running fast, and soon appeared at Iron Man's house. Iron Man looked at the two for a moment and didn't know what to say. Soon, however, that magical sight reappeared. The other side is inside SHIELD. Nick Fury, the Captain of the United States, Black Widow, Hawkeye, the Hulk, Thor with his powers, sealed are all gathered here. Nick Fury said to the Hulk, "Drive Banner." "You believe what I say?" The Hulk just shook his head. He definitely doesn't like groups like SHIELD, and he doesn't even think he's going to fight aliens with them. This is bullshit. But Nick Fury helped him and insisted, so he came to see it. The next moment, the website appeared in front of them. Asgard. Odin and Loki are sitting in Sol Castle, waiting for the site to appear. Loki has been in the confinement of his confinement these days, and has only been released today. Loki is always looking for a chance to escape, but with Odin there, he can't find a chance. Soon the website appeared. Even Loki is a little excited. He is very curious about what guides will appear on the website. At the same time, in a cabin in Queens, New York, Peter Parker had just been bitten by a spider. He already felt his body have undergone earth-shaking changes. He was amazed and terrified by the change. Suddenly a website appeared in front of him. Karmatage. Ancient One was meditating when suddenly she opened her eyes. The world has changed. The future has become more chaos. To know that the future that Ancient One sees through time gem is only a possibility of the future. Even if she is as powerful as she is not sure what kind of possibility the final time will be. But recently the timeline has become more and more blurred and chaotic, and even she can't see why. At this moment, a website screen suddenly appeared in front of her. Ancient One couldn't help but stunned. What is this? This thing is clearly in front of her eyes, but no matter what method she uses, she can't feel the existence of this thing. The more powerful the person, the more he knows how shocking this method is. Then she saw the projections from the audience in a hospital in New York. Doctor Strange, who had just completed an operation, was closing his eyes and resting. And suddenly there was a display screen in front of him. He smiled and said, "When did the hospital so willing to pay for such high-tech equipment?" The world of X-Men. Magneto and Professor X were waiting on time for the website to open, and Beast and Wolverine were also there, and they were also curious about what to see this time. Beside them was a boy called Quicksilver, who was a rare person who answered their call and came here to participate in the founding of the country. What's more interesting is that he is also a speeder. This made several people very curious, and they all thought of Quicksilver in the Marvel world. Do the same people exist in parallel universes? But everyone was relieved. Because when they discussed on the website before, even in a parallel universe, those characters who appeared in the history of the beautiful country still appeared. The events that happened in the history of the most beautiful country also still happened. All there are the same people. It seems not surprising. In the DC Universe. Superman, Batman, and Luthor appeared at the same time in front of them. Luthor is alone. Superman and Louise together around Batman. There are already more Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, The Flash. These days, he found all these people and pulled them into the Justice League. Luthor also attracted some people, but he didn't let them watch the video, and his mouth crooked when he saw Batman point this matter. He will not give up. After defeating Darkseid, he must take good care of Batman, but only then did he realize that this time there seemed to be many more people. He even saw an extremely beautiful, perfectly human-like woman sitting on a throne. She has long pale blonde hair, a beautiful face, and a pair of wings behind her back. Is this Angel? Not only him, everyone saw this woman. The new audience was still surprised, but the old audience didn't care anymore. After all, there are even real gods in the audience here. The woman in this video is Queen Keisha of the Super God universe. As the strongest person in the known universe, the sudden appearance of this website page shocked her. It didn't exist in her perception. Can see, but can't touch, can't parse, which means it's something she can't understand. Is there anything in this world that I can't understand besides the ultimate fear? Her curiosity was piqued, and she asked, can someone tell me what's going on? Ask for 2 flowers, asterisk chapter 50. It looks like there's another big guy here. Everyone was in awe of Queen Keisha's appearance. Black Widow, Wonder Woman, Scarlet Witch, these women are rare in the world. But compared with Queen Keisha, it is a bit lacking. Because Queen Keisha's beauty is perfect, beyond human imagination. And there is a pair of white wings behind her. No matter who sees it, they will think of the word angel. Those old audiences thought, since there are already gods, demigods, and aliens in these audiences, why is it strange to have another angel? After hearing her question, Superman, the best character, told the story once, and also introduced the old audience. These words shocked the new audience. I won't talk about parallel universes. Among these audiences, there are gods, demigods, aliens. What is this called? Even the Ancient One magician, who has always been calm and composed, was shocked. But the stronger one is, the quicker they will receive it. Queen Keisha nodded calmly and said, can intervene in multiple parallel universes and gain insight into the past and future. Yes, and only such a person can make this thing in front of me without me noticing it. The new audience was still in shock, and the old audience couldn't help but look at this angel again, feeling that she was full of strength and looked very K. Ancient One looked at Scarlet Witch and said, you said she was Scarlet Witch, Scarlet. Which Wanda said, I didn't say it, they said it. Man said, what's wrong with that? Ancient One shook his head and said, not only that, but she is a little different from the Scarlet Witch I imagined. Ancient One is magician, but has also dealt with witches, and she knows what the name Scarlet Witch stands for. Scarlet Witch is in existence, that even a sorcerer supreme like Ancient One magician cannot spy into the future with a time gem. About her future, there is chaos. The fear in her heart about the website that edited the past and future of Scarlet Witch has been raised again. Only Doctor Strange said, okay, I understand. What is this new reality show? Isn't it a whole person show? Rachel, come out soon. Is this what you guys did? Ancient One magician said, it's true, Strange. You just have to be patient. Drive. Strange laughed and said, sure enough, you even know my name. Okay, don't make trouble. However, at this moment, a string of sparks appeared behind Strange. While everyone was stunned, those sparks began to expand, as if to become a door. Then a white hand grabbed Strange. Ancient One thought he was too noisy, and grabbed him directly. Queen Keisha's eyes lit up, and the wormhole technology of other parallel universes seems to be very good. Man's goosebumps came out. This Strange seems to be in the same world as him. So is this Ancient One. What is this called? Space teleportation. Does our world actually have mutants? Ancient One said lightly, my name is Ancient One, and I'm a magician. We have witches in this world, and magicians. Everyone in the Marvel world feels that their 3 views are broken. Strange was shocked. He swallowed and said, so everything is true? Then why did this website choose me? I'm just an ordinary doctor. Ancient One said, no, you are more important than you think. Also, stop arguing like a girl. Spider-Man never spoke, because after seeing Iron Man, he thought it was mostly true. Mr. Tony Stark wasn't so good at fooling himself with this hoax. Will I become a superhero like Mr. Tony Stark after I just got the super ability? Think of a little excitement. At this time, Iron Man said, "This update has 3 videos. We can watch the new videos first. After watching, there is still time to communicate. You can watch the previous ones if you want." Hyperdimensional power, Iron Man film 3. Hyperdimensional power, Professor X2. Hyperdimensional raiders, Queen Keisha. He looked at Keisha and said, "You should be Queen Keisha, right? Would you like to see your skills first?" Keisha said, "I'm not in a hurry. I'm more curious about what your world looks like." Professor X said, "Then look at me first." Obviously, from the previous strategy, he and Magneto are invincible when they join forces, and he himself thinks so. Why should he give himself another strategy? It doesn't make sense. Am I still facing a crisis that I can't solve? Then Professor X clicked on his walkthrough video. The title is the same as before, but it uses an image of him when he was young, just without the hair on his head. Professor X said bitterly, "Am I bald so early?" Name: Charles Xavier. Codename: Professor X. Introduction: founder of X-Men, principal of Mutant School, psychologist, historian, philosopher, dozens of PhD titles, 4th level mutant, the most powerful telepathy in the world, who can spy on all human beings' consciousness, controlling the minds of all human beings, possessing the ability to kill all human beings in an instant. At this moment, all the newcomers were dumbfounded and felt that their whole body was numb. There are countless questions in my heart. What is mutant? It can spy on the consciousness of all human beings, control the thinking of all human beings, and kill all human beings in an instant. What a terrible super ability is this? No one is not afraid of this ability. Most of the newcomers looked at Professor X with fear in their eyes, as if they were looking at a monster. Professor X got used to it, and he sighed. "Don't worry, everyone. We are not in the same parallel universe, and even I will not casually spy on that thought," Keisha said lightly. "It's not about your will, but because your ability just exists. It's scary enough, even." Keisha herself has 7 points of envy and 3 points of fear for Professor X's ability. Keisha has the most powerful dark matter system in the entire universe, and also has the most powerful dark matter interpretation ability in the entire universe. As long as she sees a person, she can read through dark matter, see everything he has done in the past, and speculate about his future. But the only thing she can't do is see through people's minds. If this can be done, then the incident of Morgana's betrayal would not have happened in the first place, and she will not be assassinated in the future. Ancient One sighed. This is equivalent to mastering the power of the small half-mind gem. Iron Man was shocked and said, "You know infinite gems?" Ancient One said, "I know a little. At the beginning of the Big Bang, 6 singularities were born. They are the fulcrums of the real world and represent the 6 most basic laws of the universe. Mind Gem is one of them. If you can control the power of Mind Gem perfectly, you can control the minds of all creatures. However, the power of infinite gems is extremely powerful. It is not easy to control their power, and it is almost impossible to fully grasp their power." Several old viewers glanced at each other, and they knew infinite gems so well. It seemed that another big guy came this time, begging for flowers. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.